Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. Tonight on the podcast we have Hoffman and Zaberwolf and myself, Finto182. We're going to be talking about the Moonknight trailer. We're going to be talking about Peacemaker episode 4 and Boba Fett, and then maybe some other bits in between. So I won't keep you waiting any longer. I'm going to bring the guys in, say hi to them. Yo guys, what's up? Can you hear me okay?
Hey, what up, Finto?
Yo,
what's going on?
What's up, gang? What's up? Oh, my camera looks weird.
I know, it's a little blurry.
What's that about? That's strange. How are we?
Pretty good. Doing pretty good. My neighbors, the person that lives behind me, their house caught on fire today.
Oh my god, yeah, I heard you mention something about it on your stream earlier, but yeah, tell us what happened. Oh my god.
I'm just sitting here streaming like a goose, like normal. Did you cut out?
I think we lost him for a second, yeah.
Oh geez.
It's usually me who's cutting out.
Right?
Not anymore, Alex, not anymore. Not after we installed that new piece of kit.
I'm glad it's working well, man.
Yeah, it is working well. Yo, Hoff, we got you back.
Got me back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe leave the call and come back or something.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh wait, he's
the
back.
turntables.
Oh no, he's gone. The tables have turned. Yes. This used to be me every week, and the whole broadcast would suffer because it's hosted here.
Mm-hmm.
What fixed it? Lucci, I got a Ethernet card, a dedicated Ethernet card, which sits on the motherboard. So you don't use the onboard Ethernet card, and it gives like a 2.5 gig per second download, and I don't know what the upload is on it, but like the throughput is like something crazy. So I feel like my connection isn't bottlenecking anymore. So I can't take props for it. It was Alex's idea. So yeah. Is Hoff gone again?
Yeah, I think he's gone again.
So yeah, basically, how was your week while we try and get Hoff back on here?
I've just been studying pretty hard, trying to get ready for this assessment. I got the email Wednesday, and they give you a week to do it, so I'm gonna probably do it on the weekend. But yeah, I decided to learn in like Java from scratch, so that's gonna be interesting when I take the assessment.
That's cool, dude. That's cool. That's impressive.
That's a lot of work. You start frying your brain.
Yeah, so I don't really want to start talking about stuff without Hoffman here.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, are you doing any gaming lately? I know you were streaming last week for one day anyway. I caught a bit of it, but what have you been up to?
Yeah, I did. I was doing a bit of Monster Hunter Rise, and I did another stream a while ago, like late at night, and I'm really excited to play it again with a few more people. I think Max Luthor has it on the PC as well. I think he picked up a copy.
Yeah, and you were kind enough to gift it to me as well. So thank you again for that.
Oh yeah, man. Whenever you're ready, we're going on a hunt.
Yeah, for sure. I know Clint wants to get me into Valheim, and I got to finish Witcher 3, so my schedule's pretty stacked right now, but we'll definitely get it in there. It'll probably be when Max gets settled in his new place.
Yeah, definitely. I also have a few other friends that would be interested in playing as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
They're much higher ranked than us, so I think he's already in high rank. That's all he's been playing.
Nice. Get a clan on the go.
Oh yeah. Got a full squad running in.
Hoffman just mailed me there. He's just restarting his router, so he'll be here in a minute. Hopefully that fixes it. Yo, Wingcheck, what's up? How are you? Yeah, fingers crossed that fixes it. So yeah, just to go through what we got on the podcast this week, we're we're gonna talk about the Moon Knight trailer. We might actually show it. I might get you to pop it up on the screen, just for anyone who maybe hasn't watched it in the chat, or if they're checking us out on YouTube or something like that. And then we'll chat about Peacemaker episode 4. We'll also chat about Boba Fett episode 4. Both of those episodes were fantastic this week. Spoiled for TV this week. It was fantastic. And then I suppose any other kind of nerdy news from the week or anything like that we can kind of go through. So many rumors coming out about Doctor Strange. I don't know if you want to hear them or not, but some of them are fucking wild, bro. I saw a leaked photo of like the after credits from a screening apparently, and like it showed like the list of people who are in it, and oh my god, like dude, it's insane. And again, it could be fake, it could be someone trolling, but it looks real, and a lot of them look legit. So I don't know. I won't bring it. I won't put it up on screen or anything. I probably won't even talk about it, but. It's a lot of stuff is there from, like, you know, rumors that have been floating around for a long time now. So, you know, it kind of makes me think that it could be real. My God.
I mean, it's all the speculation though that drives everyone to be so excited for the movie. And I think, you know, whether or not you want to talk about it, it's still going to be on people's minds. So I would say run with it if you'd like to. I would love to hear all the different rumors, and they may or may not be true, but like, I love the speculation.
I think, like, for me anyway, I don't know how Hoffman feels about this, or I know Kyle doesn't really mind it too much, but for me, like, I'm all about the hype. Like, I'm all about hyping up something. I'm all about the speculation and, you know, potential rumors. If something's a full-blown, like, spoiler, I'm not going to talk about it, you know? Like, I think if something is confirmed to be true from very reliable sources, I think, you know, I don't really want to talk about it. But if it's stuff that's just kind of up in the air, I think, yeah. I think we're safe.
Yeah, of course, no big deal on that.
Yeah. I'll talk about one now. I may as well, since we're waiting for the dude. Apparently, there's a rumor of Council of Reeds.
Yes, I remember reading about that.
And John Krasinski is apparently down as a variant of Reed Richards, and the original actor from the original Fox movie with Chris Evans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, dude, like, that's fucking nuts. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That also makes me hopeful that that Chris Evans just shows up as Human Torch as well, since there's so many variants that could pop up. Although you have the council, like, just showing a family too would be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say, I think if we're getting the original actor, who I can't remember his name, from the original movie, I think Evans and Alba will be back as well.
Yeah, definitely. And the guy who played the Thing, he was he the guy in 24 Hours?
Yeah,
or 24?
So. Or is it Shield or something, wasn't it? He was in the Shield, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about him reprising his role, and even in the supposed credits leak, there was no Thing at all, which was strange.
That's a good pun.
Yeah. But crazily enough, again, I don't know how true any of this is. Again, it's all speculation, but I saw multiple Hulks in the list.
Ooh, Jesus. Really though, like, it makes me think that if you were able to get Edward Norton on screen, I feel like there'd still be some conflict. But is Bill Bixby around still as Banner?
I'm not too sure. I saw the big man Ferrigno in a rumor
man,
as well.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, it'd be so good, dude. And especially because I wouldn't be surprised if Ferrigno was in She-Hulk. He seems like the type that would be in She-Hulk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Especially since they're kind of doing the fourth wall breaks and the piss takes of, like, the old show and stuff, you know? So, like, I think it'd be really cool if they brought him in. I think that'd just be very, very funny.
Yeah. Is the main man back?
He's back. I think we got him. Hello.
Hi. Welcome, sir.
Welcome back.
We'll see how it works out.
Well, we're getting you loud and clear here now, and crystal clear as well. So I think I think we're good. I think we're good.
All right, awesome.
Very,
very good. Sorry about that. I don't know. Internet things. I just, I restarted everything like a real tech genius. So
Yeah, that's the bread and butter for my industry, dude. If it's broken, turn it off and on again. That's the secret.
Yeah. So should be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Looking good.
So yeah, sorry, you were telling us about this this fire at your neighbors or something, right?
Oh, yeah, the person that lives behind me. I'm just sitting here in my office, and I start smelling something like just kind of rubbery smelling. You know, almost. If you ever smelled like an electronic thing like burn up, it smelled like that, and I panicked.
Of course.
One, I was like, "Is my computer going?" Then I'm like, "No, it's not coming from in here." So like, I rush out of the office. And I'm like looking to the kitchen, like, oh, because girlfriend could have been cooking something.
True.
And then I look out at my back patio, and there is the house behind me, pillowing smoke out,
wow.
deep black smoke, just like coming out of it, won't stop. It's not even like a light smoke. It's not even like you accidentally caught a little oil on fire in your kitchen. You need to air it out, right? Like it's like pillowing smoke out there.
Wow.
So like I'm like, well, I go outside, I go around the corner, see what's going on. And like the guy, he drives a scooter, right? Like he's an older dude. He's not that old. He's like in his like early 60s, maybe. Like he looks like a youthful dude, but he has to use a scooter, I guess. I'm just like, you good? And he's like, all right, I guess I'll go back inside.
could always be worse, I suppose.
Yeah. So fire department showed up, and they cracked like all 3 of his back windows. I didn't see any flames. Like I think it was maybe just like a motorized fire or something, mechanical fire. I don't know.
Right.
No big flames anywhere. I drove by the house. There was nothing like scorched. It looked fine. You wouldn't know any better unless you can see out like my backyard where like all his windows are just wide open.
Yeah.
Just busted out like he got broken into.
Jesus.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
So we're good now. He's fine. We're fine.
It's fine.
I don't have to move.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Best is there's like 3 houses on the block selling, so I'm sure this is going to do well for the market value for them.
Jesus.
I feel like he did it just to spite them.
So while you were kind of going through your technical difficulties, I was just kind of talking about what we're going to do today. I was saying we're going to start with the Moonknight trailer. We'll do. I was thinking we might pull it up. We'll watch it together. We'll do like a kind of full breakdown or kind of hype it up a bit. Then we'll kind of maybe. Do you want to do Boba after that, or do you want to move into Peacemaker? Or what you want to do? I don't mind which way we kind of discuss it. Just once we get it all in, I suppose. It's a good week of content.
Boba.
We'll go
Boba
Boba
Let's
first.
go Boba and then since we kind of did that last week.
Cool.
Just kind of follow that order a little bit.
Nice. Okay. Alex, I don't know if you want to bring up that trailer.
Yeah,
And,
I'm working on it right now.
We'll watch the trailer first, and then we'll kick it off from there. So anyone who might be listening to us on Spotify, I apologize. We're going to bring up a trailer for the new Moonknight Marvel TV show, which is coming out on Disney Plus. So yeah, you should be watching this on Twitter or on YouTube, really.
If you're a Marvel fan, you've seen this. You know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully you watched it 5 more times afterwards.
Donald Mustard is the Moonknight, says Clint.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
Oh, how dare you, sir. Okay, let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Can you give us more volume?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible.
I have a sleeping disorder.
There we go.
I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
Hello, and welcome to
Oscar looks so fucking good in this.
Yeah, he does.
I love the tune as well. It's a great remix.
Oh, yeah.
The trailers, like whoever's doing the music for the trailers, like serious bangers they're putting out. Like, even that first Eternals trailer was just amazing.
I can't tell the difference between life and dreams.
Thank you.
Lost the contact lens.
Hope you find it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're alive. What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark? It must be very difficult. Voice in your head.
I don't really know much about Ethan's character.
chaos in you.
We'll cover it.
Yeah. Von D, baby.
Embrace the chaos.
That monster is beaten up.
Yeah. Do you remember in the first trailer, it was like he was beating up nothing? They kind of added it in for this trailer only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whew.
Let's go.
Jesus.
What a trailer, man.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
That trailer probably has me more excited than any Disney Plus show we've gotten yet. Probably the only one closest to that would probably have been the Loki trailer, which got me actually pretty excited for the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they do such a good job in that trailer setting up the stakes for it and like basically telling a story throughout the trailer. One of my favorite elements of that trailer is you see his split personalities and all the reflections of the mirrors, right?
Yeah.
And then at the very end, when he starts taking on the form, the suit of Moonknight, right? All of his reflections are lined up in the mirror and everything's working together. Versus the rest of the trailer where it's like his reflection isn't working with him.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good little touch, man. Like, loved it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's... Go ahead, Alex, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say there's all these different speculations as well in the trailer where you see that he's tying himself up so that he doesn't, end up leaving. There's sand on the floor in case he finds out that he actually stepped out of the bed. There's like tape on the wall, like some painter's tape, so that he knows if they've tried to leave through the door. Mm-hmm. There's combination locks. He's trying every which way to stop himself from getting out. And you'll see eventually that as the trailer goes on, he eventually embraces the chaos, and that's when he becomes Moonknight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like, do you think... I don't really know the story. I'm kind of going off what I've heard other people breaking down the trailers and stuff, but it appears that we're going to see him actually get possessed in the show, and maybe he doesn't know he's possessed. He just thinks he has a split personality sort of thing. Is that kind of the story of Moonknight?
Yeah, in a sense, because what happens is that his past life as Mark Spector, he's left out for dead in the middle of Egypt, and they come across Khonshu, which is like the moon god, and Khonshu is offering Mark Spector a chance to like come back to life, and gives him the ability to become Moonknight, which is the fist of Khonshu, and so doing that also splits his mind, and it splits his personality, so then he becomes multiple people at once. And so from what the trailer shows, that's already happened, and he's unaware of how that happened. But he is one of his current personas, which I can't remember the last name, but it's Steven, which in the comics is like an eccentric billionaire that managed to like make tons of money. So he was like a big entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. And then there was another character, which is, of course, Moonknight or Mr. Knight, and then Mark Spector, which is his actual real identity.
Nice. It sounds great. I mentioned this before, but like again, I know nothing of the history of Moonknight, so I'm going in very vanilla to this, like, and I'm looking forward to it. Like, it's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the biggest tell is like something you said last week is like what Moonknight is. He's basically Marvel's answer to Batman, right? Where they get a little bit more, spiritual with it and like, outworldly because the gods of Egypt, which is going to be cool to have a whole new pantheon of gods introduced to the MCU, right? Because now we're going to have fucking Egyptian gods in here, and that's just rad. But it's like Alex said, like he's a billionaire, and so he has like a flying ship. Like he's just a guy with, super enhanced, human abilities. And a lot of money, just like Batman. So I'm interested to see how much they lean into like the money aspect of it.
Spectre's a billionaire, but Steven isn't. Is that it? The story? Are you saying?
Steven's
the billionaire. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Okay. Because
like Spectre was like a mercenary who was fighting in a war over in Egypt and was left for dead.
I was gonna say because the footage that we've seen of like his apartment and stuff, you wouldn't think that he's a billionaire. Like, it looks pretty run down. So that'll be interesting how they tell those stories. Yeah,
because the way they kind of show him in the trailer is he is working at like a gift shop, right, at a museum. So I wonder how much of the being a billionaire they're actually going to lean into, because there is Batman laying out there, which is like the obvious thing, and then we also have Tony Stark, and he's the Stark fortunes out there. Like, do they want another billionaire in the MCU like that? or are they going to make Spectre the billionaire of this show? Like, how are they going to rework that money thing? Because he's obviously not got a lot of money. He's in an attic, it seems like, studio apartment ish, and working at a gift shop. He's not rolling in it.
Do you
It could also be that he's kind of like hid his money from his other personas.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's locked up in a trust or in a bank somewhere that he has no idea about. And then when he discovers his Mark Spector identity, maybe he'll have all the information there, and he'll be like, "Holy geez, I've got
I'm a
X amount of
billionaire."
money."
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I've got. Why am I?
How
living
nice
in
would
this
that be?
hellhole?
Why would that be? How nice
Season
would that
2,
be?
we're
Yeah.
rich.
How nice would that be? Yeah, that'd be crazy, dude. So, what do we think the monster is, or whatever, that he's beating up, or demon, or is it a vampire? Looks like kind of like a werewolf. Like,
I'm thinking werewolf, bro. Because
Yeah, it kinda looks like a wolf,
werewolf,
doesn't it?
Moon Knight.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
like dealing with the moon, like maybe he gets his power because like because Moon Knight gets stronger the brighter the moon is. Like at a full moon, that's when he's at his strongest.
yeah.
One of his motifs. So that's when the werewolves are at their strongest, right? So I would assume that werewolves are part of this. Very awesome to see that because I don't know, man. We're in London, and you know who else is in London?
I know who else is in London.
Black Knight, baby.
Black Knight, and
Oh, yeah.
Blade's in London at the moment as well.
Yep.
Woo! Yeah, dude, it's like, comic book wise, he fights a lot of vampires. You know, we're in London. Blade's just been there. I think it's all kind of lining up. You know, I think it's starting to make a lot of sense. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we have like a kind of crazy crossover. I'm hearing like rumors that we might get John Bernthal popping in as Punisher and everything. Like,
Bro.
yeah, Midnight Suns, dude. It's coming together, I think, very quickly.
Which,
And
man, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I love that we're kind of also getting into the horror verse of things. You know, what if we end up with like mummies, werewolves, vampires? Like we get different like swamp monsters and whatnot. Like I'm so excited to see different heroes fighting different things that are just like supernatural rather than just like cosmic or mystical.
Yeah.
And I agree with Hoffman that it's probably a werewolf situation right now. Especially if they're going to have Werewolf by Night in the future. And you never know, we might actually get a cameo of the person that's going to be playing Werewolf by Night.
True. And like I would jump on the idea of the werewolf too, just again because Blade is out there, and I don't think they want to kind of like, I think they want to save the introduction of vampires for Blade specifically, and that being wild. So it's like Blade shows up in this. Maybe there's a cameo of a vampire, but like the idea of a vampire, they're gonna wait for Blade for that. So it's got to be a werewolf, I think.
I was listening to a conversation today, kind of about a different subject, but I'm going to use the same kind of like topic, but just change the actual item, I suppose, or whatever you want to say. But what do you think that the likes of vampires and werewolves and stuff have been in the MCU the entire time, or do you think something has happened with, multiverse breaking, or, Loki, or, Strange or something like that? Do you think something has brought all of this into the universe, or do you think this has just all been here the whole time? And the way it was described, and I think it's a very clever way of doing it, I think they're going to try and do it like Harry Potter, where it's like, the wizard world exists, but it's behind the curtain, like, and we don't know about it. Do you think they do that, or do you think they try and explain it into the universe, like, Wanda saying no more mutants and thing? I think, they're going to potentially do a flip of House of M, and she's going to say, bring on the mutants or something, when she finds out that she's the only one or something like that. So what do you think? Which way do you think they're going to go with it?
I would say that they're gonna play with it as it being here the entire time, just kind of underneath it. I would not, be surprised if they have like a Nick Fury cameo at some point, and he is like, oh, this is our supernatural division, and it's just something like that's been known, that everyone's known about, and it's just not talked about. I don't see how they get around doing vampires without having them here the whole time, because that's kind of like what makes vampires really awesome, is that they've been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. And they've been live, so I would expect that, but I could totally see them kind of like the Eternals, where it's like the blip changed everything. The blip added stuff, weirded stuff out. And your Wanda thing, good idea too.
Yeah. With the supernatural characters, I think they've also been here the entire time. And maybe Fury and Shield back then were like, they're not really doing anything. They're keeping themselves in hiding. We'd rather not investigate this and make this a big situation. And if they're coming out and hitting the streets of London, then it's starting to become a bigger thing. And so Moon Knight, because he's not very delicate with things, he's gonna make it known that there's these supernatural creatures hanging around.
Mm-hmm. And definitely, man. And like you said, you just saying he's not subtle. That just brings the idea of that classic frame of like Moon Knight and Punisher running into each other, where like they're just talking straight trash to each other.
Oh,
yeah. I can't wait to see that, like that just nonsense between the two of them. I hope, we don't just get this timid Moon Knight the entire time, because when he's wild, when he's talking crap, like it's hilarious how funny he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait. Let's talk about the Von D boxes as well. I know me and Hoffman spoke about this offline, but a lot of people are speculating that while that scene where he's in the kind of pickup or the truck or whatever it is, or a van, there's boxes in the back of the van that say Von and then D, and people are suspecting it might be the first kind of Easter egg for Doom. What do we think? Like it has to happen at some point, and I think now's the time to kind of maybe start throwing in these little kind of things.
Is this our Mephisto moment for Moon Knight? It does say Von D. I think someone broke it down and like they figured out the word and it wasn't Doom, right? Like it was a fuller name than Doom, but maybe that is just Doom's moniker or whatever he goes under for like his business, for whatever he's doing.
Yeah,
I know it looks like we're in Germany. We could also not be in Germany. We could be in like Doom's actual country for where the Ethan Hawke scene where he shows up. That could be like the introduction to a whole new country that we really haven't heard anything about. That's not part of our actual real world deal here. So I'm curious if that's actually Germany that they're in, or if they're in what is it, like Latvia or is that Doom
like
country?
Lavaria or something like that.
Bavaria.
Yeah, Kingdom of Lavaria. Well, the thing behind this too is even if it's not Von Doom, you've got people talking. And if you've got people talking, they're going to start thinking, well, shoot, we need to figure out a way to get Von Doom in the situation, like not in Moon Knight if that's not the case, but in later on, like they're probably going to push it. The more people are hyped for something, the more often it's going to show up, except for Mephisto. I don't think they really wanted to do Mephisto in any of their stuff, although they gave a lot of speculation.
Yeah. I think I think they have to do Mephisto now at some point. Like they're kind of being like forced to do it at this stage, because like everyone's just gonna be like, where the fuck is he? Like we've been asking for so long now, and I think they're kind of, if they're like, I think a lot of what I've been hearing about Doctor Strange 2 is that Wanda's gonna be the main villain and like gonna potentially to take her down. Apparently, like a lot of the speculation is that they're gonna have to start bringing in variants of different heroes and assemble an Avengers team from the multiverse. So
that's so ridiculous, bro.
Today they some sort of like toy range, the way the toys are now kind of leaking shit and kind of fucking shit up. Like we got the Spider-Man suits early from a toy leak. Well, there was a leak today for a Doctor Strange toy for the new movie, and he was called
here we go.
Oh my god, what was he called? It was a different variant again of Strange, but the variant, I can't remember the name of him, but the variant basically he's from the multiverse, and in the comics this version of Strange is the leader of the Avengers in his world, and basically they're saying is like, we're going to get a variant of Mr. Fantastic, different variant of Strange, we're going to get an Iron Man, we're going to get everything, like Wolverine, the whole shebang, and they're all going to come together to have to take down Wanda because she's going to be that powerful in this movie.
Man, that's just like wild to me. Like, do you think they would really introduce, like, Spider-Man's one thing where you have Spider-Man characters coming in, but do you think they would introduce Mr. Fantastic to this universe as a variant for the first time? Do you think that's something they would actually consider?
I think they're doing it for fan service. I think it might not make sense to have like Krasinski showing up, but I think maybe they might have behind closed doors have gotten him to agree to an appearance but as a variant. So he's here for one movie. He's like a Tobey Maguire. He pops in, kicks some fucking ass, and then he's gone. And he's not the 616 Reed, you know?
Yeah. That is such a hard cast. Like, why? If that's the case, I don't know why they would do that, because who would want to follow John Krasinski taking over the mantle of Richard Reed in the MCU? That seems like the biggest shoes to fill when he's probably the most typecast character in the MCU we've seen since Tony Stark and RDJ. Like, he looks like the character. He feels like it.
Yeah.
I just, oh my God, like that would be like, who's taking on that role after him?
I know. And like, if they do Council of Reeds, it could be interesting. And then, they bring back the old Fox version of him as well, and you have the two of them and maybe another guy. Could be really cool. But yeah, you're right in what you're saying. I think they're kind of shooting. If they do that, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, because what's going to happen is anyone who gets cast after that, it's going to seem like a disappointment.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe this forces Krasinski to do it full time, because I know they want to get Emily Blunt in and have like the kind of real life married couple be the couple in the movie. So I think it's a package deal, and I don't think Emily Blunt wants to do it, as far as I know, because she originally turned down Black Widow. She didn't want to do it. So yeah. I don't think they want to get into as well. Maybe I can't speak for John, but from what I've heard from Emily in different interviews and so on, she doesn't want to get tied down to big movie franchises, So I don't think it works for her. Yeah. And I think they're a package deal at this stage, because everyone wants her to be Sue Storm.
Possibly, but I could also see a place in the world where she does take the job on now. Like, it's been over a decade since Black Widow was cast, right? She has worked with Disney now, as in Jungle Cruise. Like, she was part of that, so
she was good in that as well.
She is, yeah, great in it. And I know that's not like a franchise, although I'm sure they're probably gonna try and make a sequel for that one. Yeah, because it did so well. But I could totally see her coming back and like readdressing the idea of it. With money talks, and they realize how much money they can make from the MCU.
True, I agree.
Yeah, I really have no speculation on this. This is pretty much a toss up on my end.
Yeah,
how dare you? They're perfect, and they've both also done like action roles. She was in that Tom Cruise action movie, whatever the future, where he was basically resetting himself and doing the Groundhog Day but action sequences over and over and over.
End of Tomorrow or something was that called? Or
yes, that's it.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I was close.
Yeah, so she's done action, and been great in that. He's done action. He's played a movie where he's like been a Navy SEAL or something. He's great in those types of roles.
He did Tom Clancy stuff. That's on
Jack
Amazon,
Ryan.
So Jack Ryan. It was actually good.
Woo.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hope they take the role, because I think it would be really fun to see him in that. And outside of them, I can't really picture anyone else at the moment, but we'll see.
I don't know if Alex, if you can bring up, I don't know, Alex, real quick, if you can just bring up on the screen, there's a couple of like fan made pictures of Krasinski as Reed, and they are like, they look real. They're so good, and he just fits it so perfectly. It's crazy. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I keep hearing rumors about Seth Rogen for Ben Grimm, and I'm just like, please God, no.
Oh God,
please
no.
Seth Rogen is Ben Grimm.
Bro, I keep hearing it, man. I keep hearing it.
This is the first time hearing of it, and I'm shocked.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Back when they started like leaking, like they got the cast confirmed or whatever, he was like, he was him. He was Ben, and I was like, no, dude, no.
Yeah, that does not sound good at all.
There's like a whole section here showing like different types.
That's the one I love.
I don't know which one.
The one you've opened there is the best one. The one that's big here on the right. That is a great image right there. Like, they've kind of given him the gray.
It's too small. That's why.
Yeah, they've kind of given him the gray tips and stuff. And even like, look at this. Open this one here in the middle with the two of them beside each other. One right. That looks great. Like it's it's so cool, dude. It's so cool. Like, I think the two of them would just be great.
Yeah. And Krasinski's a tall guy, and so since he looks tall and he's got like a good set of arms, like it'll look really nice to see him in that full costume.
Yeah.
And then seeing the stretchiness.
Like, imagine him getting put on the kind of the Marvel diet and the Marvel training and stuff. Like, he could look like this picture. Like, easily I could see it happening, like, without the suit helping him even too much. Like,
well, I mean, look at the one like to the left and one up. Like that's from the movie he did, where the Michael Bay movie. He's huge there, man.
Oh,
Like
he's jacked. He is jacked. I'm not taking that away from him, but I just mean like he could look like an actual superhero, like, you know. Like I know because him and Chris Pratt are really good friends in real life, and I know they were both like hardcore in training for about 6 or 8 months. He was doing Guardians 1, I think, and then John was doing this movie. And the two of them were training like Marines, like, you know, so they can both get there, you know, no problem. Yeah. No problem.
I love the other fan made stuff, like they show him crossing his arms, but it's all stretched.
That's kind of scary looking.
Right.
I just love that first picture that you had open there is like an amazing picture. Like it just looks so cool. Yeah. Like I could just, you know, picture multiverse, you know, this is like a kind of like haggard version of him that's like been through the wars, comes in like to the Illuminati like to help shit. Like he just looks like a guy who's been through some shit, like, you know. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Again, just really like super curious how they're gonna introduce it. Fantastic Four, like how are they getting him in here?
Oh yeah, I don't know how the 616 are going to do it. It makes a lot of sense, like with the Illuminati and Council of Reeds and stuff that they're going to do in Doctor Strange. That's all easy. It's easy to do it there, but how do they do it in the 616? I have no idea.
Yeah.
There was a big rumor going around about Spider-Man that apparently there was an alternate ending shot for the movie. Now it's come out as being fake, but they were saying that there was an alternate scene done where Peter came back after the whole fight, the end fight, and basically sees that Avengers Tower has been replaced by Oscorp. And I was like, oh, that would have been actually really cool. That would have been really cool if they did that.
That would be cool. And what are we doing, Stark Tower? That has been the longest tease. Yeah. And it's got to be waiting for the Fantastic Four, right? Yeah, like they got to be waiting for that.
That's what it is. That's what it is, I think. You know, and I think they kind of gave away that hint at the bottom of the bottom of the site where it was like, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait for what's coming or something. They had a big billboard at the bottom, and I think John Watts had said, because John Watts, the guy who directed that Spider-Man movie, has gone off to work on Fantastic Four now, and they're saying that was them throwing in a kind of hint at what he's up to next. You know?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Give us it. Like I literally just want to be, you know, like a year in the future because I have so many questions. We should have been getting this stuff already, but they had to delay literally everything. So I feel like we're naturally at a point now where we should have been getting all this news, all these teasers, stuff coming out now, all this casting. But because everything got pushed like a year, we're in a place where we're behind, and it feels like we shouldn't be behind, but we're totally behind because we should have had Doctor Strange last year, right? Like already out and put to bed.
Yeah, but with all the adjustments that they've had to make, it's, you know, it's inevitable. You got to move stuff around, you got to make time for other things, and you know they had to change their priorities. And then when Spider-Man No Way Home became such a hit, they realized that they wanted to fit some more stuff into Doctor Strange, and therefore they wanted to push it. And that helps, but also hurts the timeline of things being released in this year, because we're going to get a little bit of a drought as of right now. Once we finish with Book of Boba Fett and Peacemaker, we have to wait until March 30th to get Moonknight. So it's like, what are we going to do in the meantime? You know?
Yeah. Like we're in a big drought, and my only hope is that because we're in such a drought for content, Marvel knows that they have to be part of the conversation somewhere, right? And so they might start leaking stuff. They might start dropping teasers, trailers for stuff that's coming down the line, because they know they have to constantly be in the news to stay relevant. So hopefully this drought that's coming up after the end of after Doctor Strange, like, will get us there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I want to see more.
Me too. Yeah, and especially with the Moonknight trailer, you know, there's so many things to speculate. Like we just went off on a tangent just thinking about Doom, Reed Richards, and whatnot. And this is what we live for, is finding all the little details to see if we can kind of decipher what's coming next and what we're interested in. And one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you guys was, did you guys notice that Khonshu was in the trailer?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Badass.
And it's so badass because, like, when you see Khonshu, and you see that it's like shuffling towards him along the hallway. It's just an amazing moment. It makes me wonder, like, what
terrifying.
exactly is going to be, what exactly is going to be said? Like, is he just approaching him to scare him, to remind him that, like, he's the fist of Khonshu, or is it like a cry for help? Like, I need you to be in your form.
I thought this was the possession.
The possession?
Yeah.
No, like, I think a part of Khonshu's, like, powers go into Mark Spector, and therefore it causes a split in his personality. I'm not too sure if it's considered a possession, but Khonshu is a being of their own. So it might just be a calling, like, you need to stop, like, holding yourself back and get into the fray as Moon Knight.
Yeah.
See, I was taking the trailer that Moon Knight is already possessed by Khonshu, and like he travels with them and stuff. Especially in the scene where we get the first time his reflection gets left behind in the glass of that like museum presentation, because those are all 3 Egyptian gods standing there, and then Khonshu, another Egyptian god, gets left behind in his reflection. So it places that like all those gods together, because there was like Anubis there and stuff. So I think it's already inside of him, and I think that his split personality is like you said, it's just his mind like split to deal with the idea of a god being inside of him, like it just wrecked him.
Yeah.
And that bathroom scene, we see him like Khonshu coming for him in his mind, like taking him back over, like, hey, you got to embrace this. You can't run from this your whole life.
Exactly. Yep. I agree.
For sure.
And it's like, I'm excited to see and hear Khonshu. I'm hoping that we hear Khonshu and not just see it as more of an entity that's standing in front of him and scaring him. I want to know what Khonshu sounds like on screen. Like, I want to get the feeling like of terror, just knowing that this person's driving Mark Spector insane because he made a deal to stay alive.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I can't wait. It has real potential to be potentially the best series that we've seen. Easily.
I agree, and it's like the first time we're getting like a brand new character as the lead for a show, right? It's not like a mantle passing. It's not, a continuation of someone else's story. It's a brand new character. It's a title level character. We get to learn everything about him. And maybe that's what the MCU Disney Plus shows have been missing, is that we never really have done like an origin story there and like built a new character on that platform. And maybe that is literally what it needs for these shows to work, is just more body to the shows. Because shows being picked up in the, like, what other show do you know that gets picked up in the middle of a character's arc? Like right in the middle, it just gets picked up and you're supposed to run with it. It's kind of bizarre.
They tried to do that with Book of Boba Fett, and it didn't really work that well at the beginning.
Oh man!
Speaking of Boba Fett, I think we need to get there soon. No, go on.
Did you hear about the actor who passed away, who was in Moonknight?
Yeah, he was the French guy. He was in a skiing accident. Yeah,
he was supposed to be playing like Midnight Man, and he gets his like Marvel break, and he gets in a skiing accident. It's like 36, man.
It's awful, dude.
It's horrible.
It's awful. Like I really think like skiing has a real kind of like glamorous kind of thing attached to it, where like it's like you're going up to the Alps and you're renting out a cabin and you're it's a real kind of hip and cool thing to do. But like, it's a fucking dangerous activity, and like so many people get injured, so many people get killed from it. Like Michael Schumacher got paralyzed from it. Like, literally went headfirst into a big boulder like in the snow and just destroyed his career. Like, it's nuts, and I feel so sorry for the guy. But I think a lot of people, and probably me included, like I wouldn't be too quick to go on the slopes like myself, like without like a lot of fucking training. But I think a lot of people don't have a business being up there in the first place. Like, it's lethal. It's an extreme sport, and people do it for a holiday. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I feel so sorry for them though. Fuck's sake, dude, what a tragedy.
I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the skiing. I stay away from those slippery mountains. I like to stay here in Florida where it's nice and flat.
Yeah, you got no snow anytime soon out there anyway.
I like the warmth of it. I do like the snow now that I moved. Like, I'm enjoying it, and but I don't want to do any activities that involve like skiing or snowboarding or whatnot. I'll watch people, but yeah.
I'd love to try snowboarding myself. I used to skate when I was younger, like, but you know, I do know that I probably don't have any business being up there on those slopes, like, you know, so I definitely would need to practice for a long time first. Like, I'm not just going to buy tickets and go to the Alps. Like, a lot of people are, like, around on this side of the world, they all, like, get these, like, you know, bundle deals, like, to go skiing in the Alps, and it's like a package deal that you do, like, when you're fucking booking a trip to Vegas. Like, it's the same thing, like, you know, you get your hotel, you get your ski passes, all that sort of shit, like, and it's like, half these people, like, have no... like absolutely no business being on those mountains. Like, you know, it's lethal. And this poor man, obviously, you know, in an accident, like, just horrendous. Like, right at the like, I know nothing about this guy. I know he was a French actor. I don't know. I didn't really do any research on him if he'd been in anything else, or his face was kind of familiar to me. I think maybe I've seen him in something before.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I read that. I was like Midnight Man's kind of like an important character in Moon Knight. You know, he's not like a central character, but I wonder if they're...
Lucci says he was in Hannibal.
Oh,
wow.
I know.
Yes.
That, yeah. Jesus, it's tragic, man. Tragic.
So
Yeah.
I didn't mean to blow up your segue there because it was beautiful.
No.
It was a beautiful segue.
Go ahead, please.
No, I want you to take back over because there's one thing about snow. It doesn't show up on Tatooine. Am I right, everyone?
And speaking of Boba Fett, guys, yeah, let's transition into Boba. Like, we've spent 45 minutes talking about a trailer.
As we
I
should.
love it. Like, that shows you how good that trailer was. That we could spend like 47 minutes talking about it.
Yeah, and there was one more thing I wanted to kind of bring up
ahead.
before we. Yeah, so sorry about that.
No. Go ahead.
So I know we were looking at Ethan Hawke and we were wondering, well, what kind of villain is he going to play? Like, is he going to be someone, integral to the story? Is he just going to be there to like be a worshiper for a different god, or what's going on here? And so what actually is occurring right now is there's speculation that he's going to be Randall Spector, which is Mark Spector's brother. And so he's in kind of like he might be in his own kind of world as well, where he's trying to gather worshippers for Khonshu. And in turn, you'll see like the penultimate like moment in that show where he's probably going to be Shadow Knight. And then we're going to have the fight between Shadow Knight and Moon Knight. And then Khonshu's probably going to tell him like, you need to like show that you are the Fist of Khonshu and defeat this guy. Because Randall Spector is not a good person. He's a serial killer in a sense. He's a murderer, like, and he's gathering people to worship. And we don't know who they're worshiping right now, but they are in the sun, so it could also be Sun God or Sun King.
I definitely feel like they're like when they're worshiping Sun King, because just the way they're all bowing to him. He's in the daylight. He's like opening his arms, right? It's a very, sun rising moment type of deal. And of course, I feel like the same way that werewolves could be part of this because of the moon, them just bringing in the sun to be the opposite of the moon is like so obvious for them.
So poetic.
For a brand new character.
Yeah.
I feel like the writers are like, let's do that.
The ye old faithful, like yin and yang. It's always so easy.
But how cool would it be to see like Moon Knight looking very bright and shining, of course, and although he's very split, he does look like much of a hero. And then you see like Ethan Hawke's character at this point transforming into Shadow Knight and looking just devious and horrible. Kind of bringing that persona of like, this is not like a kid's show. This is a Marvel, like a dark Marvel show. And there's going to be dark Marvel, like the darkness of Marvel is here, and therefore Shadow Knight. And that's why I'm really leaning towards Shadow Knight.
Is that a still from the trailer?
No,
with Ethan Hawke?
That's something else.
That has to be something else.
We've only seen very little of him in this. I was listening. I can't remember who I was listening to. It might have been New Rockstars or something. Shout out. But I think he was saying that the character that Hawke is playing had like a very small run in the comic books. So they're like, it can be very up in the air which way they're going to go with it for the show, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of content to pull from comic book wise for this character. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. So it could be like a fresh take on something, you know?
Yeah, and the thing about Shadow Knight is that he doesn't really live that long. You know, the Moon Knight actually kills his brother
Right.
in order to like retrieve the moon crest and become like just full on Moon Knight. And there's
like-
no other that can be, you know, ahead of him.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised either if they took the Sun King and Shadow Knight and put them together. Marvel does have a tendency to kind of, you know, mix a
Merge.
couple villains together. Yeah, so that you can have a fuller story and have a little bit more for the writers to work with, right? So I could totally see that where he is the Sun King, but hey, he's also, you know, Spectre's brother. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if there's one thing we know about suns, there's two of them on Tatooine. Am I right? Yeah, for it.
Love it. Love it. Taking mental note, 51 minutes. Boba Fett, episode 4. We're going straight in. Alex, myself, and Hoffman, we sat down yesterday. We did a video on it. I know you've watched our thoughts, but I want to hear your thoughts. Talk to us.
So I really enjoyed this episode. After I watched it the first time, and I was thinking that the first time watching it, I actually felt like it wasn't enough. And then as I kept like rewatching it a couple more times, I realized like I didn't see the big picture coming into play. You know, the way that they had Boba kind of scout out the area where Fennec Shen is like hiding out is amazing, because it really felt like one of those moments in the Star Wars movies where they're actually scouting out areas. They're trying to devise a plan on how to infiltrate that area so that they can get what they need. And, you know, it kind of turns into that same situation of like, I need to get my ship. Like, so we got to get in there. We got to infiltrate. We got to destroy like part of the establishment, and then we got to get the hell out. And that felt great. When he decided to save Fennec, and go to the mods area, I thought that was really fun. I know that the music wasn't really to your taste, Finto, but
I hated it.
Or mine.
Yeah, I hate
Or,
it. Or
like 95% of the people watching, please.
I think 95% of the audience that were watching that were like, "What the fuck is this? Like, what is happening right now?" Like, I had to, and I said this in the video that we put out yesterday. I had to pause. I was nearly going to turn it off. I was fucking furious, and I said to myself, deep breath. Looked at my girlfriend. She was laughing at me, and I was just like, okay, I'll keep going. I have to keep going. But I like, if it wasn't Star Wars, I would have fucking switched it off there. And then like, I was just like, this is a joke. Like, it felt like Ocean's 11. Like, that music was like, you know, when they were planning on like heisting the casino. I was like, this is just ridiculous. I couldn't believe what I was listening to.
Yeah. It's just so weird for one, Star Wars to have music behind it at all, right? Like the only time we really get music is like very light music in the background and then like huge orchestra moments,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Other than that, it's like cantina music that's like in the background, but there's no music that's like driving scenes like that. That's for small things, right? Like it's just not it just doesn't feel Star Wars.
It was like electronic music and everything. Like, it was just completely out of place. Like, and I understand they're trying to put like this kind of culture across, like this like modding culture, like nomad modders that are from the future, you know. But it's not the right place for it.
Well,
tell me what merchandise they're trying to sell me, Disney. Tell me what the merch is, okay?
Can I just buy it and we can move on? Like, can you just please stop?
You know they're gonna have like goggles and like little face things for kids to buy.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna be the mods on Tatooine.
They're really trying to sell like cyberpunk and trying to get that whole feeling of like, you know, modding is cool. Like, being a mod is cool. Like, you know, and it's very reflective of when you see Luke take off his glove and you see he starts to embrace the idea that like, oh, I'm a mod. I lost my hand, but I still have it in a sense. Like, I can still use it. And that's why when you see the modder be like, and, you know, cover up all that beautiful, show it off, show like that, you know, you're modified, like you're much better now. But the way I see the music is so much more for the younger culture, which is why like when he comes in, he's like, aren't you a little old to be in here? And it's like a tongue-in-cheek moment, and I agree with you guys, like it doesn't necessarily need to be there, but I do see how when you see music in the cantina or whatnot, like it's not necessarily underground, but it's like, you know, ominous kind of, like, although it's happy, it's ominous kind of music, right? Like you don't know what's going to go on in this area. This is like the underground of underground. Like you know that you have this little niche area that has like all this music playing that you don't necessarily hear in the crowded areas. This is their stuff. This is their culture, and that's why they brought it there. But what I really liked about that scene though was the fact that they brought in Thundercat into the mix. So like that mod guy is like a famous artist named Thundercat, who was I think he was originally in Suicidal Tendencies. And when I saw him, I like it clicked in my head. I'm like, I love that dude's music, and I highly recommend you guys check him out. But like he fits so well. Like he really did. He looked like someone who totally does modding, and he does it behind the scenes. And if you got the money, like, you know, I'll handle it. And so like I took that scene more so with a grain of salt. I didn't want to judge it by the music. I was judging it more so by how they fix Fennec, how they get things, you know, working for Fennec, and how they save her, because that to me is the more important part of it. When you see them going in there and fixing her, I'm still like, how did they keep the blood from like flowing out? Like where does the reservoir go? Like what's this blue and red like lines? Where are they going? Like it's cool. Like it kind of explains some of the stuff that goes on when people are mods. You know, like with Luke, like how the hell did they get his arm like working the right way? You know, like how is he able to feel it? Yeah. And I think that, I know I'm kind of like going too hard into this, but it's just that's the one thing I was more interested in was,
you're on a sinking ship, bro. I do not agree with you at all. I hate that scene. I'm all right with them like showing Fennec, you know, how she got her mods, whatever. I think that's cool. I think all the characters look pretty decent in there. You know, it's like the DJ, whatever. He looked like he fit the part. All the characters look cool in there, but it's just this idea of this music, and it's a scene that went on for, I thought it like just kind of derailed the beginning of the show. And I thought I was right there with Finto, where I was like, they did it again. Yeah. That, you know, they showed us Fennec getting healed or fixed for, I don't know, like 2 minutes. It felt like a longer scene than it needed to be. When, you know, all we saw with Luke, like you said, was like, oh, he's a little 5-second thing right here with his hands and he's good to go. I don't think we need to delve into every little tiny aspect of it. I feel like they really love the scene. And I feel like when you hold on to a scene too hard, sometimes you ruin the entire cut of the film or the episode. And I just felt like it felt out of place. Show up, get her fixed up, and get out of there as fast as you can. And instead, it's like, oh, we got this cool DJ on here. We want to show the DJ. Yeah, you know,
it's not Star Wars.
Yeah, but it does explain why he likes the mods. It totally helps to kind of, you know, get the idea of why he decided to go with the mods instead of with the other guy, and it fits accordingly. But I do agree that the music is not like, it didn't fit. So had the music not been in there, maybe it would have like satisfied you a little bit better instead of like bringing you down.
But see, I feel like two things here. One, it does explain why he likes the mod so much. And that's why in our video, I brought up this huge point where it's like, I felt like this episode 4 should have been episode 2. They should have had this stuff in this episode way earlier in the series to set up everything else. And the entire series works better than this. But, you know, him liking the mods, that's like creating a solution just to go find the answer, or creating a solution for a problem you don't have. Yeah. Like, we created these mod characters that he likes so much. Oh, now we got to figure out why he likes them so much. Right. And sometimes like it just doesn't hit. It doesn't work. Like, I just don't like the mod characters. You know, I'm tainted from that chase scene they're in. They feel like they're beneath this entire franchise. It's low. It's low bar television. That doesn't belong in the Star Wars universe when it comes to what we saw in episode 3, and they carried on into this.
Yeah. And you explained before that, you know, I think we've agreed before too, actually, that had this show been linear, it probably wouldn't have mattered as much. It probably would have been just fine. You would have rolled your eyes still because of the music and because of like the situation. But at the same time, had this been linear, you would have been more structured to understand everything going on without feeling like you're being tossed all over the place.
Right.
I think if any other show did this, I would kind of laugh. But I think, and I'm, you know, the 90% of the Star Wars community takes the content a bit too seriously, and I'm probably in there with them. But, you know, it's just Star Wars isn't the place for this shit. Like, you know what I mean? If Marvel did this, I'd laugh, you know, or I'd be like, Jesus, that was terrible. But, you know, they're trying to be funny. They're trying to do the tongue-in-cheek thing. Like, I just don't... I think there's a handful of moments in Star Wars that are genuinely funny to be funny. I think they're quite serious stories. Like, you know, it's not a comedy. Like, there's no, like... I know Episode 1, they bring Jar Jar Binks in, like, which was, you know, as George Lucas said, for children. Like, you know, it was... That character was made for 10-year-olds, but... You know, this series and Mandalorian, like, you know, I know there was funny bits in Mandalorian, but, you know, the comedy was put into very, like, just the right place at the right time. Something, and, you know, it's usually just dialogue between two people, and it's a bit, like, you know, it's light, it's fun, but,
Yeah.
you know, when you start doing stuff like this that belongs in a comedy series, it really misses for me. Like, you know, I nearly take offense to it. Like, you know, I just, I'm on nothing to do with it.
It's a great point. Like, Star Wars comedy is not really comedy. It's more just lighthearted moments that take place between characters.
Yeah.
And like between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, like just lighthearted little comments here or there. They're kind of like smirk inducing, not trying to like get you laughing.
Yeah, like the moment in Episode 1 when Qui-Gon I think he manipulated the dice so that he can get Anakin, and that felt a little silly because he's like, I could totally fix this. That felt great because, you know, it was subtle, but it was like a little nod to their powers and abilities. And it didn't feel like it was intruding on anything. Therefore, like, when you see the mods, they're just out there. They're put forward. They're hard introduced, which is not fun. You know, it's not like a you need to meet my crew kind of situation. It's more so like I'm just throwing you guys in, and I could totally see that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be too harsh on it because this episode overall is some of the best Star Wars TV they've ever done. I absolutely love this episode. Like they really righted the ship. If they're gonna stay on this course, they really righted the show with this one episode.
Yeah.
And I think, I know I mentioned this in our video, but, you know, I didn't have very high hopes for this episode. I was kind of expecting there to be an epic 5 minutes at the end or something like that. So when it started the way it did, and I had to pause and take my deep breath, I was like, here we go. I knew this was coming. But thankfully that was all. Like, that was the only bad thing that it's the only negative thing I could say about the episode. But I was very pleasantly surprised by how good the rest of the episode was. And, you know, I really think that 5 and 6 anyway are going to be absolute bangers. Like, like best content ever, you know? Dave Filoni, I think he wrote and directed one of these upcoming 2 episodes. We know Rodriguez has the last one, so again, you know, I've got no hope for that.
That's going to be rough.
It's going to be a rough finish, I think. But I really think 5 and 6 were going to be jaws on the floor. I think it's going to be epic. Alex, what was your favorite, like, moment in the episode? Like, do you have, like, a favorite moment from the episode?
The council meeting, like, between everyone within the area. Yeah. It was very Star Wars. Very Star Wars, because, like, it's this whole conversation that they're having, and it's very political. It's like, well, we have no quarrel with the Pikes. You're the only one that has a problem with the Pikes. Why do we need to help you? And he's like, guys don't really need to help me. You need you guys to turn away if anything happens. And I thought that was a very Star Wars moment, because there have been a lot of council meetings where they talk about the dangers of having other people involved and what the consequences are of like certain groups getting involved in certain fights and wars. And so, like, when it ultimately leads to them being okay with, you know, not just staying neutral, I thought that felt amazing, because it's like, okay, so they're going to turn the other way. They're going to let Boba Fett do what he needs to do. And now that we've reached this point of, like, why he actually wants to run this empire, it's set in motion. It feels comfortable now. It doesn't feel like all over the place anymore. We're not getting any more, background story. It's full speed ahead.
Yeah, I think all the like those different like families, we'll call it, because it's a proper mafia vibe, like, But
Yeah.
I think all the families are kind of sitting there, and it's just like, no, we don't want to be involved in this. You go to war with the
Right.
Pikes, and we'll deal with whoever's left behind, like, So yeah, I thought it was a really really well put together scene, and then I think it's like the way that then he's just like, okay, well, just don't team up with the Pikes and we'll be good. Like, so they're just like, yep, we'll sit at the sidelines, we'll watch the war, and we'll deal with whoever's left behind. I can't wait for it, like, to be honest, because it's gonna be, especially with Dave Filoni coming on, I really think we're gonna get Cad Bane live action. Like, he's kind of his kind of main bounty hunter, and like Bosk and stuff like that. I think all these guys are gonna come in, and I think it's going to be just a big fucking showdown. Boba's going to have like an epic team. He's going to have the Mandalorian. He's going to have BK. He's going to have Fennec, obviously. And I think maybe you might even get like Bo-Katan and stuff. Or a couple of other Mandalorians might come as well, like with Mando, because Mando's now the king of Mandalore. So he's probably going to have an army of Mandalorians with him. So I would not be surprised if we saw all that. Like, it's going to be, these next 2 episodes are going to be mind blowing.
Well,
And then as
I'm
well,
excited to
Luke and Grogu.
Yeah, and I'm more so excited specifically for Din Djarin to use the Darksaber,
Exactly.
because we've only seen him retrieve it. We don't know if he's learned how to use it. We don't know if he's just having it as a means to show that he's the leader. I'm really hoping to see it in combat.
I love that he doesn't even want it. He just goes, "Oh yeah, here, Bo. Yeah, you take it." Like, it's like, that's not how it works, sir. You have to win it in trial by combat. Like, and he's just kind of like, I kind of feel like if anyone was ever gonna do the Luke Skywalker just throwing the lightsaber away, that'd be like the kind of perfect moment for it, because he'd be like, "Here, just take it." Like, and she's like, "No, I can't." And he'd be like, "All right, God," he just throws it away. I think that'd be so funny. Like, because I don't even like, he doesn't want to even rule Mandalore. Like, I don't think so. Like, he's got his own mission, and I think I just think whatever happens here in the next couple of episodes, like, we've got kind of 2.5 or maybe 2 hours of content, and it's going to really line up Mandalorian for us. I think season 3, it's going to be hype.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so, and I really want to see where they leave Boba Fett, because I think the scene, like you guys were talking about, the mafia scene, it really is a mafia scene where it's, Boba Fett's the head of the table. He's like a Don Corleone type of character. He's just sitting there. He's ruling it. I want to see if they leave Boba Fett in that position, and then that has ramifications for this like Filoni universe that they're building here on Disney Plus, where it's, Boba Fett is kind of a shady character again. It's like, he does want a tribe. He sees the importance of like running a family, but he's going to work for his family. And so there's going to be, all these other characters who are in the universe could be butting his head with them, because he is a crime boss and he wants his family to be on top and like be in a good position. And that doesn't always, work with where you want to be when it's like righteous, when it's like doing good, right? Like, he's doing what's best for him and his crime family. And how's that going to butt heads with like the Mandalorian? Because I'm sure Boba Fett, like you say, he's going to pop back up in the Mandalorian. They have all this good history between them. What's it going to be like when they don't have good chemistry between the two of them and they're butting heads against each other? Like, I'd love to see that.
One of the things I really liked about the episode as well was the fact that when Fennec Shen heard, like, who are you? He's like, "I am Boba Fett," and she's like, she kind of looks at him like,
Boba Fett is dead.
Yeah,
that was cool.
I was like, what?
I love that scene.
Yeah,
He is dead. He died in that Starlight pit. I don't know who the fuck came out.
Yeah.
God, a Tusken Raider.
Do you think that he, because the way, like, he obviously doesn't remember crawling out of the pit, because obviously he was wearing his armor, and I presume he obviously figures this out as time goes on, because when we first see him in Mandalorian, he's searching for his armor, so he obviously finds out what happened to it. But it's interesting that he's doing like a kind of death-defying stunt to get into the pit. It's like, bro, you crawled out with that shit on, like, so yeah, it's crazy.
Do you think we're going to have Timothy Olyphant's character show up in this thing in some kind of pseudo flashback where he sees someone else wearing his armor and he's like, what? Like I want to see that where he's like, why is my armor there? Why is it not in the Sarlacc pit?
I'm not too sure. Like that would be interesting to have him come back, and it kind of makes me wonder how much they spent on these next few episodes if they're gonna bring him in, and hopefully that doesn't mess with the budget enough to kind of like downplay what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like just because you have multiple people coming in doesn't mean it's going to make a fantastic episode.
Right. Sure.
So, if they do bring Timothy Olyphant, then that means that they probably asked everyone that was in The Mandalorian to show up. So, from what Finto said, hopefully we see, all these people come in. I'm hoping that we also see Bill Burr's character because I know he loves Star Wars too, and and I know that you guys aren't really too fond of like the some of the humor, but I think Bill Burr's character actually fit very well, especially for like his.
I have zero problems with his comedy. That's the kind of comedy that I'm talking about. That like it's like over communicate. It's over conversation. It's bouncing comedy off people rather than creating a funny kind of comical scene that doesn't belong. That's where I don't agree. But I think Bill Burr was fantastic in season 2. I kind of didn't really even like blink an eye at him in the first season. He really kind of grew into the role in season 2, or they wrote him, they wrote him better. Whatever happened, it just worked. It clicked perfectly. Yeah, he absolutely stole the episode that he was in. I think it was episode 5 maybe or something. I can't remember. But yeah, no, he was fantastic. Like I really want to go back and rewatch season 2 because I think season 2 was just absolutely full of bangers. Like I went back recently and just threw on just the Ahsoka episode and just the start, where she's going through the forest and stuff, and like the sabers are opening and stuff. I'll never forget watching that for the first time, just thinking like, oh my god, they're going straight. Like we all knew it was the Ahsoka episode, and like the episode opens up and it's her like just chopping people up and things straight away. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, speaking of Ahsoka as well, I hear that show is now in production.
Ooh, finally made it.
Yeah, it's happening. Well, they're shooting it right now.
I actually wanted to just quickly say that when I saw Rosario Dawson playing as Ahsoka Tano, my brain laughed, and then it realized this is actually a perfect like role for Rosario Dawson. She plays a fantastic Ahsoka Tano, and I can't wait to see that show when it appears. She
was kind of like Krasinski as Reed. It was what the fans wanted, perfect. And they just turned around and they were like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah, I never got the fan base too when everyone really wanted to see the actress who voiced her in the Clone Wars. Everyone wanted to see her as the live action, and I'm like, you guys are nuts. Like, Rosario Dawson is like a world class actress. She looks like the character. Is she gonna sound like her? Like, probably not, but she's a lot older too at this point, right? So like, voices do change. And like you were getting a dream casting in this character, and it's one of those moments where you break with like a lot of the fans. You're just like, what? Oh, is this how other people feel about me? Like at all times, they're like, they're crazy. They're crazy.
It's Ahsoka's a wild character as well, because if you think about it, she arrived into the Star Wars canon directly after Episode 2 as Anakin's apprentice, and she's still around after Episode 6. Like 5 years after Episode 6, she's still knocking around, and she's like full blown using the Force, like chopping people up. So like, I would not be surprised if the Filoni-verse kicks off and we have her in like the future messing around with like CGI Luke, and they do like a new Jedi temple, all that sort of shit. And then I wouldn't be surprised if we caught her also in the likes of the Obi-Wan show, and they have like different kind of eras of her. She's like, she can bounce around a lot in time, which is crazy. Like, she could start like just popping up everywhere, and it would make perfect sense. And that shit excites me.
So in regard to the new show with Ahsoka Tano, are we going to see her at the point where she's resurrected?
It's taking off. I think she's trying to hunt down Thrawn, and I think that's where her show will be. So it's after what we've seen so far. That's where her show continues. So yeah, I don't know what happened with Rebels. The end of Rebels is really strange. Basically, I know, Hoffman, you probably haven't seen it, but the character Ezra in the show basically figures out how to like kind of travel through time, and basically she's about to be killed by Vader in a fight, and he just opens up a portal. It's like the TVA opens up a portal and grabs her and brings her into like a pocket dimension or whatever different dimension, and they're gone, disappeared forever for what we think. And then now the next time that she's seen in canon is Mando, and everyone's like, where the fuck has she been this whole time? So like,
Right.
there's a lot of question marks as to where Ezra is. Apparently they've cast somebody to play him. So like that's official. Like we will get a live action Ezra, most likely in Ahsoka show. But I wouldn't be surprised if we potentially saw an Ezra. We could see an Ezra in Obi-Wan, technically, because like that was around the time when he was doing his training and stuff. Which would be great.
Yeah.
Which would be great. But then you get an older version, because I think the guy who they've cast to play him is quite young. So that's why I'm thinking maybe he might make an appearance around the Obi-Wan show, or he might make an appearance if they do like Ahsoka flashbacks or something like that. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but yeah, it's all crazy, man. Like I really like where the kind of Filoni verse is going, and then we haven't even spoke about Thrawn and the whole Jedi Order thing, and potentially Han Solo like de-aged and that sort of thing. Like like rumors, the big rumors are out there that Harrison Ford is back. He's doing something for Star Wars, and I think it's de-age shit.
They could definitely do it, right? Like, the moment they brought Luke back, now anything's possible. Real quick with Ahsoka, though, like the one thing I dream about this happening is I hope she gets scenes with Luke, and I hope she gets to train Luke a little bit to show him other ways of the Force outside of what like Yoda was teaching him and stuff, just because of the connection between Vader and Anakin, how Anakin taught her, and she can teach Luke. Like that would be such a great circular book in there.
I just want
that
the
would just be so
conversation,
good
dude.
to see, man.
I want the two of them to sit around a campfire and just for Luke to say, "What was my father like?"
Right.
Like, oh my god, like,
Yes.
tell me about the Clone Wars. What was my father like when he was a Jedi? Like, and I wouldn't be surprised if we then saw Force Ghost Anakin and Hayden Christensen actually interacting with the two characters. That's where it's going, bro. Like Hayden has signed on for multiple projects. Like he's not just doing Obi-Wan. Like he's doing something else as well, and I would not be surprised if that was it.
Yeah,
great.
I would love that. Ahsoka has so much potential to like really rock the Star Wars universe, and like this time between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, like she connects so much and could like just be the biggest part of it. And I really am excited for her character. I think more than anyone else I've seen on screen. But I think you're right. I think they're bringing Han back in. It would only make sense for them bringing Han into this show with Harrison, even if they just bring the dude on who played. Well, I don't know, because it is after the original trilogy. But it's Boba Fett. It's Boba Fett and Han. It's like they have such history together. That I love it.
The Crimson Dawn connections as well. And obviously Han had his relationship with Kira before he was with Leia. So if they bring Kira back into it, which is a real possibility as well, it would only make sense that we get a kind of an appearance from Han. And, why not Chewie? Why not 3PO? Why not R2-D2? Like, it's so easy to do all this. Like, Ford is the hardest part of that. And from what I've heard, he's down. He's like... Who wouldn't be, like, after seeing what happened with Mark Hamill and how that just like, not that he needed any attention, but like that blew him up again. Like, like everyone was talking about Mark Hamill, like, and it was just such a fucking magical moment. I don't think it can be topped. If we see Luke again, it will be amazing, but it will never top that. If we see Han again, it'll be amazing, but it will never top Luke. That was just such a surprise. Whereas now we're talking about it, we're expecting it, whereas it's just, it's not the same thing. But obviously, I want to see it all. I would love for them to bring in a Carrie Fisher, because I know they're using her daughter. I think her daughter did a lot of the body double stuff for episode 9, and they just superimposed Carrie Fisher's face onto her daughter's body. So, maybe she could be down to do a little bit more of that. to
I
kind
think
of
she
honor
did
her
for
mother.
Rogue One also, right?
I think so. Yeah, you might be right
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So yeah, like you know, they could easily do that. Like, you know, bring her back again, and if they've got Harrison Ford on set, I'm sure she would happily do those scenes. Like, you know, just again,
Where-
so much went wrong with that sequel trilogy. Like that, they butchered everybody. They butchered Han. They butchered Leia. They butchered Luke so badly. Like to the fact that to the fact that Mark Hamill himself was calling the character Jake Skywalker. He's like, this is not Luke Skywalker. This is not the character that George Lucas created. You know.
What are the possibilities of bringing Lando in, like with Carl Weathers?
Huge.
Yeah.
Because we know that they're doing a Lando TV show, right? Like they got that plan with Danny Glover, so I think they would absolutely bring Lando in. Well, like Lando did not look good in the sequel trilogies. Like you could really see his age more so than someone like Mark Hamill, I think they had him like sitting down for the most part, right? And so like when he was doing his lines and stuff, I think he's just not, I think he's a little further along in age. But I could totally see them bringing on Danny Glover and kind of like aging him up. I could also see them bringing on the guy who played a young Han Solo in Solo and have just aging him up a little bit and having them play those two roles, which I'd be totally fine for. We don't have to like de-age everybody. We can just kind of recast people and do that. Like I'm totally fine with that because I think you're right. I think we could see him.
Yeah. Excuse me for checking. Danny Glover was in here.
Danny Glover was Lando in the Solo movie.
Really?
Yes, it was fantastic. He played the part. He almost like was am I saying that right? No, the Childish Gambino, whatever his name is.
Oh, Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. I'm sorry, Donald Glover.
Oh my
Donald
God.
Glover played Lando. I'm just way off base here. Well, not that far off, honestly. But he played Lando, and it was great, man. It was like he fit the role. He felt like he was doing a Lando impersonation a little bit, but I think he did another swing at it.
Yeah,
He would fit it. He'd absolutely fit it.
Also, I don't think I said the name right. I don't think Carl Weathers was Lando. I think it was some other guy.
It was Billy D. Billy D.
Billy.
Yeah, Billy D. something.
Oh,
Billy D.
God.
Williams.
Then why do I keep imagining Carl Weathers in the show? Was he in the show at all? He was what?
The Mandalorian.
That's what I thought. Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm not
He
crazy.
wasn't playing Lando, but
Okay.
he still was cool as hell, just like him.
Yeah.
So, but like I honestly still think we're getting a Luke show too. I think we're getting. They say I think it's called Tales of the Jedi. I saw a very well thought out video that was introducing what Mark Hamill was saying about Luke at the very end of the original trilogy, where it's like Luke does all this training and like finally becomes a Jedi, and then that's just the end of it. He would like to see the Tales of the Jedi after that. And then they just named the show like the Tales of the Jedi, which is also like a comic book run or I think it's a comic book. It's either a book or comic book. I'm seeing like the picture in my head of the cover, but I think that's going to be the Luke series. I think we are going to get a Luke series. We deserve a Luke series. Luke Skywalker is one of the best characters ever created, and I would love to see him, in this like Disney Plus show and kind of show us a little bit up until. And maybe how he turns into this like hermit and like ease us into that a little bit more because it was so jarring.
Well, I was reading up and there was speculation that they're going to try to scrap the latest trilogy, but maybe keep a few like things in from it. But if they do scrap it, would you think that they would redo the Jedi Temple though? Like if he were to like lead a Jedi Temple of his own, do you think they would like redo that?
I like this all being predicated on the idea that they're going to scrap it, right? I think they would do a Jedi Temple series or have it there because there's such great stories there. That was some of the first extended universe stuff I read was Luke's like Jedi Temple, man, and how great that was. Just like go through. But I there's no way they're scrapping this trilogy. I don't know where that is a Star Wars nerd's wet dream. I don't know how they think they're going to wipe this when there's so much money invested into it. There's movies, they're at the theme parks, there's merchandise, like people who are not adults yet, like teenagers love Rey and Rey is like their hero. And there's no way they're gonna scrap it. There's no way.
Yeah, I can agree with that, and I agree with you. It's you know, it's a fan's wet dream to just completely scrap that third trilogy, but at the same time, they can rewrite certain things to make it believable
Mhm.
afterwards. You know, just because most people weren't happy with the fact that Rey Palpatine decided to change her name to Skywalker,
Right.
that doesn't change the fact that she's still a Jedi and that she still has the ability to, you know, possibly like learn more ways of the Force, even tap into the dark side at times, reach that point of like the gray Jedi, which is like, I don't know if that's still a thing, or even like run her own temple, because you know eventually we need more Jedi. We're done with the Skywalker saga. We're done with that story. So like we need to push forward. So I like part of me wants her to just be on her own and just leave the story, but I think that like you said, that's like some of the younger generation's heroes. So it would be weird to continue the story and not have any stories about, you know, Rey Skywalker, you know, or the name Skywalker continuing and making a name for themselves even more.
Right. Um. Yeah. I mean, one, I don't need a lot of Jedis. I think Jedis are at their best in terms of storytelling when there's only like a handful of Jedis in the universe. I think they're more menacing. They're more mysterious. I just like the old Star Wars universe in times where there's like, you know, just you see a video of like 100 Jedis running around. And it's like, it's a little wacky right now, bro. This is too many lightsabers for me. I like when there's only a handful of Jedis. I think that's what works about the Star Wars universe in the original trilogy so well, is that there's not a lot of Jedis. There's like a handful of them that you know about. Maybe there's 20 or so more in the universe outside of them, and there's this like really rare thing that's like underground and like mysterious. So like I could see them doing another Jedi Temple type of thing with Rey to kind of continue that arc for her, but I don't think I'd like it. I think, you know, let's give us 5, let's give us 6 Jedis.
Yeah, I mean they could still like, you know, if she makes her own temple, instead of giving her like giving the other Jedi stories about her, they could just make it so like she's kind of just the master of that temple. People are learning from her, and then they go off and they're like, okay, it's time for me to be a Jedi and go off and do like find my own stories to create, which I think would be a great way to kind of send off the Skywalker name. Like, so if we wanted to pull off the Skywalker name, we could totally do that. But yeah, like she's gonna stick around for sure.
Oh yeah, and Rey is not a bad character.
No,
like Rey in the first movie is such a good character. Like her starting point, I love her character to death. Where she went in the 8 and 9, little wacky there. But when we're first introduced to Rey, I loved her character. I love what JJ did and set up, and then just kind of got weird from there, man.
So are you? I was just gonna ask one more question.
Yeah.
It's more of a joke. Do you think that the Jedi should have also followed the rule of 2?
Well, yes. I think that was Anakin's mission, right? Bring balance to the Force, and that's what he did. At the end, at the end of Anakin's run, there was 2 of each. That was it. It was balance was restored. So it wasn't the prophecy they wanted, but that was it. I had to step away for a second, but I was listening to you in the background. But when you were talking about Episode 7, and saying like, you know, the kind of, you think that they might potentially be retconning the original trilogy, or sorry, the sequel trilogy. I think what Dave and John are really trying to do is bridge the gap a lot better, make it flow a lot better with better content that's more kind of, you know, like fan service to the storyline with the likes of Thrawn and stuff like that, you know. And I think some of the best parts of Episode 7 were like when you, or maybe it was Episode 8, I can't remember, but was when like you see Ben destroying Luke's temple. And I think they like, I would love to see it all get to that point, you know, because I think that's where, like, you know, that's when Luke breaks. Like, that's, you know, Luke's the failure and he goes into exile and moves to Ireland. And, you know, that's I just want to see it get to that point, and I think, you know, they've got a real opportunity to have, you know, Ahsoka, Grogu, you know, a couple of other Jedi maybe from Legends that might come back, and like, you know, Ezra Bridger and all these people, and then the Knights of Ren come in and just wipe them all out. I just think that would be fucking wild to see. Could you imagine like a series, like a Luke series, like a Jedi, maybe not a Luke series, but like a Jedi series that comes out, and you're following the likes of Ahsoka and Ezra and Ben Solo and, you know, Luke and stuff like this, and then it just turns into this like absolute dark fucking finale where they all just get absolutely wiped out, and then we start episode 7. I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be cool as shit, man.
I think it would. It definitely would. I definitely wanted to see them take Luke's story further. I still think he's getting a show. I talked about it while you're up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can take it, like that trailer. I don't know if it was real or not, but that Knights of Ren trailer that was leaked online, that teaser or whatever, was brilliant, man. It was absolutely stunning. I think I would really like them to take Luke's story right up until he takes on Ben Solo as a Padawan or whatever, or like he into the temple, and then like we just know the tragedy that follows, and like everyone's so happy, and then that's where it ends. And then the next time we see those characters are in episode 7 in the flashback scenes, or episode 8. I think it is episode 8.
I don't know how much of it they could do, but I would love to see like Leia as a Jedi as well. Like I know we see those flashbacks of her as doing her training with Luke and stuff, but I'd love to see that time period. I know it's kind of a difficult thing to do now with everything that's kind of happened, but I think it would be crazy to kind of see a young Luke and a young Leia kind of starting their own Jedi temple, and then like recruiting more, and then obviously Han and Leia having their kids, and, you know, them being Force sensitive and becoming Jedis themselves, and Luke taking them on. Like it's all a story that would be amazing to see. And I think if you do it right, if you do it on Disney Plus and you make it good, I think it really, really helps that sequel trilogy not be as much of a fucking shitstorm that it was. Because like
I think you recast him, bro. Like I think we can see Leia. I think Leia has a lot of the story to tell.
Yeah.
I think we just recast, recast Luke, recast Han, like recast them all and just tell the stories and, you know, get over it. Like,
I think you're right. I just don't know how the recast work with, like if you're keeping it so close to canon, and you know you recast Harrison Ford, but then Harrison Ford comes back into it in the next movie, like the thing that like comes into it, like he just returns again. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I would love to see, like, and I don't think that, you know, de-aging and, you know, using body doubles and stuff, I don't think that in the day and age that we live in now, I don't think these are like crippling technologies. Like I think they can do it CGI probably perfectly now, and you know you can use Carrie Fisher's likeness all you want. I don't think that's a problem, like money wise or anything like that. Like, so I think if they can do that and they can make it look good, like by using this new dude who did all those deep fakes, do you know what I mean? I think just go with it. Go with Leia, and like, you know, if the family approves and that sort of thing, like go for it full send. I'd be behind it.
Like maybe, but you know, when we saw Luke, we saw him at like one pretty straight on angle when they were doing the deep fake for his face. I don't know if the technology is like fully there, but why not just take the young Han Solo that they cast for his movie and just age him up a little bit, and run him as like the you know, the Han Solo we're gonna see in this show, whatever.
Well, I know, I think I showed it once before on this stream, the deep fake of Harrison Ford in in Solo, like in place of the dude, and it just looks so much better. Like a de-aged version of Harrison Ford looks so much better than that actor. I just think that, you know, Disney and Lucasfilm have hired this dude who made that video, and it's like, okay, we'll just de-age Harrison and just put him into all these seats. Like, you know, why not? You know, you could even hire the dude who played it, who was in Solo, and then just replace his face in post. It's so mad.
You're more of a believer in the deepfake than I am. You know what I mean? Like I said, I don't think it's there yet.
I think the footage that Han Solo, like that Harrison Ford footage, was mind blown. I think it was incredible, and that was a dude sitting at home in his boxers on a MacBook, You know, like just working on YouTube. Like imagine what he's doing now with the full fucking force of Lucasfilm behind him. I'd say they're making.
Now he's got some shorts.
They're making fire. Yeah, like he's got to wear pants now, but yeah, they're making fire. You know they are. Yeah. So I don't know. I'd be happy with any of it. Like just give me the characters, give me the story. Like Sebastian Stan as Luke. I'm down for it all day. I think it would be brilliant. But I don't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing the de-age Luke either. If it means we get less Luke, maybe I'm down more for recasting. But I genuinely think that the whole technology side of it isn't gonna slow down the content, if that makes sense. I don't think it's a crutch, is what I'm trying to say.
I know we can pull out a lot of stories between all the characters that we already know, but how much of a constraint do you think it'll be once we reach a certain point with all the stories? Like if they were to put everything out that we want, where do we go from there? I know we were talking, Hoffman and I were just talking about the whole going from 9 to like maybe another Jedi temple or something to kind of perpetuate the whole Jedi situation, because I'm assuming that you can't just have one. I think 5 or 6 might be acceptable, but otherwise you're just kind of like capping the story and then that's it.
I think that and I think this is kind of their plan, is you have to leave this era of Star Wars behind. After if you want to tell any more cinematic stories on the big screen, you got to go forward or you got to go backwards. You got to get away from the Skywalker timeline because it's too touchy for fans. As much as I would love to tell these stories, they could absolutely ruin characters by telling these. They're kind of, it's iffy on whether or not Boba Fett's going to be a good character at the end of this show. There's been some really bad moments for Boba Fett. There's been some really brilliant moments for Boba Fett so far.
Yeah.
But I think if they just take a shot at creating an entirely new Star Wars universe in the future, or they go back to the Old Republic and do some stuff there, I think that's better. That's better for the films, honestly.
A trilogy in the Old Republic would be fire. It would be fantastic.
Yep.
Like just incredible storytelling. And now with technology where it is, you could do a scene kind of like the Colosseum scene in episode 2 where there's just lightsabers everywhere, but it just looks so much better now, in like 2025 or whatever. It's going to look incredible. It's going to look like those cutscenes in the Old Republic games and everything. I think that's where you go. You go to the Old Republic, you have like Dantooine, the planet, and where they had the old Jedi temple and stuff. And, there's like, I don't think it's Yoda, but I think it's like a relative of Yoda. Like this is like 3,000 years ago. He's still, or like 1,000 years ago or something, and he's around and he's on the Jedi temple and stuff. And it'd be familiar, but it would be so different. And I think you could bash out 3 movies about like Raven and Malik and stuff, and it would be incredible stuff. Like look at how hyped everybody got for the remaster of that original game. Like the internet exploded. So like go there. Like I don't understand. They're talking about like reviving Ben Solo, bringing him back to life through the Force somehow, and just continuing on 10, 11, 12. Like I don't think Daisy Riley or Ridley or whatever her name is, she's not coming back. I don't think so. Like they were very unhappy on the set. I doubt you're getting Finn back. Like he got fucked over in that trilogy. Oscar Isaac has transcended Star Wars at this stage. Like I don't see him going back to play Plo or whatever his name was, Poe.
Poe Dameron.
Yeah,
he said that too, where he's like, I'm not coming back to that, where I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so what are they doing? Are they going to revive Ben Solo and just give Adam Driver a trilogy by himself? Like, it makes no sense. Like, the only way that works is like if they go like 30 years into the future and recast all those original people as like older like Jedi Masters or some shit, and then you have a storyline going on 30, 40 years after the episode 9. Like, that's the only way it even remotely makes sense. But
I mean, I still can't believe what they did with Finn, bro. Like, Finn could have been one of the coolest Star Wars characters we've ever seen.
Yeah,
exactly.
The stuff that Bill Burr was doing in his episode, being a former stormtrooper or whatever, and all the like regrets he had and all the trauma he had from it, that should have been Finn's character.
Yeah,
that should have been what Finn was doing while he's becoming a Jedi too. And he has all this hate inside of him because of it. And that's why they're worried about him with the Force. Like, they could have had all this stuff with him.
Yeah.
And instead, they like bait and switch it with like, They were putting up posters like Fenn's this great, incredibly important character for you to. Here's a big ass poster of him, and then like he's not in the story at all for 2 movies.
Yeah, sure. He wielded the lightsaber first before
Yeah.
before Rey. You know,
Yeah.
they were down to make him a Jedi, and then they just switched the agenda. Let's make it all girl powered. Like, you know, like there was interviews with Kathleen Kennedy where she said this trilogy is, you know, Daisy Ridley or whatever her name is. She is the face of it, and nothing will change that. You know. So, yeah, look, they just had their own agenda in place and just completely butchered the story. And each one of those movies feels like a solo movie that wasn't part of a trilogy because they're all so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a trilogy, like, you know, it's obviously 3 movies that went one after another, but there were very, very little connection between any of them, like, at all. It was just wild, dude.
I get the theme that they were trying though. It's like forget the past, let's look towards the future kind of situation, because, you know, Solo's gone, Leia's gone, you know, Luke Skywalker, you know, passed away, and then like, so it's setting up for this future of different characters and a different breed of people and all the things that they've gone through, and to just squander it is so horrible. Like they had it. They really had it, and they just dropped it.
Well, Kylo Ren was like a fantastic villain, fantastic character, grandson of Darth Vader, you know, has his issues, truly like kind of terrifying character. Like when he first like kind of drops down, and I loved like John Williams' music in that movie was just fantastic as well. When he comes like down onto the planet and he stops the blast with the Force and stuff, and you first hear his voice, I was like, this is gripping, like this is really good. It's really chilling stuff.
Yeah.
And then it just fucking falls off. Like, you know, they kill Han Solo. I'm like, oh my god, what have they done? Like, I was like, that is just shocking. I kind of think that was kind of real world stuff with like Harrison and stuff. I don't think he really wanted to be around for long, so he's like, I'll do 1 movie, but that's it. So they're like, fuck it, yeah, we'll kill you. Like, I only heard recently a lot of the Star Wars fans going crazy because apparently JJ said in an interview he wanted to destroy Coruscant, the planet. And all these people are like, you know, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why would you destroy that planet? It has no story at all. Like, you're just literally trying to... Because he's, like, in interviews before said that he hates the prequel trilogy and stuff. And he's like, I wanted to go in there and destroy the planet of Coruscant. Like, and it's like, why? It has nothing to do with any storylines. You're just in there trying to piss off prequel fans. Like, you know, he's made a lot of enemies.
Yeah. And you're right about Harrison. I think his condition coming back was that they killed him off. I think that was literally his condition.
Yeah.
He said he'll come back and do the money for a boatload of money, and you kill me off because I don't. He hates Star Wars, man.
He does, yeah.
He does. He's not a fan of it.
I can kind of, I can kind of understand, but you know, at the same time, it's what made him. You know, he was nothing before Star Wars. Like he wasn't a big actor. Obviously, you know, what's it called? Indiana Jones came up after, you know, he was fucking hoisted into superstardom after that. But, you know, before episode 4, he wasn't doing much.
Yeah.
You know, so like that movie, like, you know, even that one movie, the original Star Wars, like, is probably the main thing for his success. So, you know, I don't understand how you could hate that. Like, you know, it set you up for life. Like, I don't get it. But again, that's just me. That's me being a Star Wars lover, of course. Like, if I don't see it as I don't see it as a job, but. You know, I'll never forget. I was like maybe 16 or something, and I saw an interview with Ewan McGregor. Like, you know, absolutely loved Obi-Wan Kenobi, like one of my favorite characters. And I saw an interview with him on a talk show, like maybe 2 or 3 years after episode 3. And he was talking in the interview, and someone asked him a question about episode 3, and he goes, "Oh yeah, at the end of that movie, it was like, where was I? I was on that planet. What was it called? Like with all the sand, and I was bringing the baby and stuff." And I was just like, head in my hands, just like, bro, you don't even know the name of the planet, like, and you know you're bringing Luke to fucking, like, you're literally bridging the original movie with like your movie, and like you can't even remember the name of the planet. I was like, that just destroyed my small heart. Like my soul was broken.
So sad. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, the magic was lost. I still love Ewan McGregor. Like, I think he's a legend. Really can't wait for Obi-Wan. It's gonna be fantastic. I thought, nah, I will.
Like, you know how you hate what they did to Boba Fett? Just go in with caution. Just walk with a little bit of caution in Obi-Wan, because so far, when they've come back to all these characters that we love, they've not treated them well.
Well, I'd love to bring
every one of them.
I'd love to bring up, because I think we talked about this about it, like in our first couple of episodes of the podcast. I when they kind of announced the like Book of Boba Fett, I didn't give a shit. Honestly, I've never loved Boba as a character. He's been a cool character, but he's never been Star Wars for me, you know. Never really gave a shit about him, so I'm just like, yeah, cool. There's a show, I'll watch it. If it's good, it's good. You know, Mando's been great, but like Obi-Wan is different. Like, you know, this is bringing back my childhood heroes, like Anakin Skywalker, fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi, like the OGs, and they're in like that golden time period. So I'm like, this for me, this is it. Like, this is it for me, like for sure. And then they're bringing in Inquisitors, IRL Inquisitors. We're gonna have like proper like lightsaber fights and stuff. Vader's gonna be in it. Like, it's gonna be crazy. I think Black Chrysanthemum might be in it.
I'm nervous for you.
Don't be, bro. It's gonna be great.
You remember, like, man, Luke from my childhood. I love him so much. Like, I love Luke Skywalker. And then we were sitting in the movie theater, and he's just like, throws it over his shoulder, and we're like,
yeah, I was.
What the hell is going on here, man?
I was shocked.
That's gotta be Obi-Wan.
I was shocked. I was shocked at that. And like when he's drinking like the titty milk and everything, like, and I was just like, no, Mark, what's happening? What are they doing to you, dude? It was crazy.
Oh yeah, bro. You're gonna have Obi-Wan like sucking on Jabba's tit, bro. Like, you just come here, right here, little guy, little Jedi. Drink up from mommy.
I think he's gonna be cool. I kind of get but this is what I hope anyway. You know, the when they kind of do the in like Last of Us, for example, where you see like the younger Joel, and then it kind of gets into the future, and he's the more kind of like rugged older Joel. I kind of feel that like that's what they're gonna do with the character. Like, he's gonna be, I think it's 10 years after he drops Luke off. Luke's like 10 years old in this, and I think he's just gonna be like, he's gonna be rugged. He's gonna be tough. Like, you know, it's been a tough 10 years for him, and I think he's gonna be on the verge of kind of like lashing out. And then I think it's going to be, something's going to threaten Leia, I think is the story that I've heard. You know, someone goes after Leia, and he's like, right, I'm going off world to fuck these Inquisitors up. Like, I just think it's going to be amazing, dude. And then if they bring Ahsoka in, I just think it's going to be, it's going to be hitting off. All pistons are going to be firing, dude. It's going to be great.
All right. Be careful. That's all. Be careful, buddy.
This is going to be a rough one.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be fucking fantastic.
Well, I just think, like, I just keep thinking about that scene in Book of Boba Fett with Stephen Root, and he's like, "Sir, nobody respects you." And I'm like, "Oh no,
Nobody.
You're hitting it on the nose."
Yeah, I just think like, I think a lot of the fan base are kind of in the same camp as me, where it's like, you know, yeah, Bob was kind of cool and he had 20 minutes of screen time in the original trilogy, but nobody really gives a fuck. Like, Obi-Wan's ghost was on screen more than like Boba Fett has been in the original trilogy, so it's like, I don't really care about this character. I like his ship, he's cool, whatever. I've seen his dad in episode 2, but I just, you know, I don't need to see a full series on him. It's cool that we got it, are getting it, and I think like that it ties in and stuff is great, but these aren't characters that I like bank my childhood on. So like, you know, like seeing Luke Skywalker in Mando season 2, like, it made grown men cry, like, you know. It's like, I think it's going to be similar effects with Obi-Wan. Like, people my age who are prequel kids are going to just go wild when they see Hayden Christensen on screen. Like, I saw he did some like interview for like this charity relief thing that they're doing in conjunction with Star Wars and stuff, and it was like a little 30-second clip, and at the end he's like, you know, may the force be with you. And I've seen that like chopped up and like put around on the internet so much, like people are just freaking out, even with him just sitting in a chair in his casual gear just saying may the force be with you. Like, people are losing their minds. Like, so yeah, I think it's gonna be really big, bigger than the sequel trilogy. Like,
You think?
yeah, I think not. Like, I just think hype wise and content wise, I think it's going to be the best shit that we've gotten since like the originals, like, you know, or since the prequels. Like, I think episode 3 for me personally, like, I know Rogue One and Solo were good movies. Like, Rogue One was phenomenal, but like, if we're talking like kind of content with these characters, I think the last good thing that we saw was episode 3. You know, and I think this series is directly going after that. Like, you know,
I liked Force Awakens. I'm a fan of that movie. I'm sorry.
there was again a lot of aspects of the film were cool, and then I just think a lot of it was just rehashed from the original Star Wars movie. Like, you know, instead of having the Death Star, they have a Death Planet, and you know, it's like they just swap out Vader with Kylo, and you know, Luke is Finn, and you know, they kind of just like swapped all
It's
the
like
characters.
poetry. They rhyme, you know.
Yeah. But that was the whole joke. Like with J.J. Abrams, was like, you remember this? Do you guys remember this in the past? Well, we brought it back. You guys remember all this stuff?
Yeah.
And it's cool. It really does bring back the nostalgia, and you feel a sense of like pride in what you remember when you first watch like episode 4 through 6, 1 through 3. And so like I get it, but after all the nostalgia, it's like, where do you go from there? And then that's when they started like really taking this down.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think
I think it's something Finta said earlier. The reason I don't think the sequel trilogy really works is they didn't have an overall plan, right? And then the directors for each movie tried to undo what the previous movie did, right? Mm-hmm. Where Rian Johnson tried to undo what J.J. Abrams did in episode 7. And then J.J. Abrams came along and tried to undo what Rian Johnson did in episode 8. And that's why both those movies just feel worse than they should. Like if J.J. Abrams took episode 9 and just continued the themes from episode 8, it would have worked better. You would have went back to episode 8 and not hated it as much. But because they just unravel everything that Rian Johnson did, they're just like, fuck this movie. Like, this is all the dumbest thing ever. Like, what's it even matter? It's just, that's why it doesn't work, is because it's not a real trilogy in the sense that they were designed to work together and talk to each other. It's like they're just making fun of each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it is. It's one movie trying to put out a dumpster fire for the previous one, you know? Like, I think episode 7 was it was its own thing. It was not too bad. It's one I could go back and rewatch, you know? You got Han Solo and Chewie and stuff, and Luke's original lightsaber. Like, there's stuff for me there that interests me that I would like to go back. But then, like, you get Rian Johnson comes in and just tries to just write his own fucking story, like, and made a butchers of it. Like, it was awful. Really bad. Like, you gotta ask yourself, like, you know, if you have somebody who's been portraying the role of a character since 1976 when they filmed that movie, if he's turning around to you saying this is not the character, like, you gotta fucking listen to the guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you really do. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I can only imagine what it was like for Mark Hamill to have to work on that set. I'd say it was the worst, like, months of his life. Like, I'd say he hated every fucking minute of it, because it was just a butchery of that character. Like, Luke Skywalker was destroyed in that movie. Yeah. And then episode 9, they turn around and they just, like, JJ comes in, you know, they're banking everything on it. Like, you know, they were shooting that movie. Your one who plays, what's her name? Daisy Riley, who plays Rey, was saying in interviews that they were halfway through the production of that film and she still didn't know who she was. They were writing it on the fly. You know, they made up the Palpatine thing off the fucking cuff. Like, you know, she could have been anybody. Like, there was the rumors going around and ideas going around that she was going to be related to Obi-Wan. Then there was going to, because, you know, the way he was the first one to speak to her through the Force, and everyone was like, oh my God, she's related to Obi-Wan, and that would make sense. And they were like putting up ideas of like comparisons with their robes and stuff. And then they just turn around and it's like, oh yeah, actually Palpatine's her grandfather. And then in the comics, since the movie, they've explained that her father was actually a clone of Palpatine. So she's actually Palpatine's daughter, technically. She's a clone's daughter of Palpatine. So, like, that would explain why she's so powerful in the Force. She's directly, like, descendant of Palpatine. But they should have just kept her as that. Like, you know, that last scene where she's looking into the distance and the ghosts of Luke and Leia pop up, and it's like, I'm Rey Skywalker. Like, it's just fucking painful. Like, so bad.
That's kind of my point about the way each movie is trying to undo what they did. Like, if they would just taken Rian Johnson's idea that Rey isn't anybody, and just ran with that, and she doesn't come from any kind of lineage, right? Yeah, and if they just sent that idea, it would have worked better than them trying to retcon Rian Johnson's retcon, right? Of like who Rey is. And like it just makes it all ridiculous in the end. When if they would just accepted it and said, okay, she's not related to anybody. She's just incredibly strong with the Force, because the Force was trying to find a vessel. Like the Force dictates who's strong, not bloodline. The Force finds who's strong and creates strong people. I think that works way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I like part of me thinks that if they had done it that way, if they still wanted to kind of consider her a Skywalker, then they could say like she's an honorary Skywalker, but still give her her own like identity.
Mm-hmm.
If they really wanted to like just be like, oh, she's an honorary Skywalker, she's been with the Skywalker family, and she's just she was part of the story. That's great, but she's still her own character, and that was supposed to be the whole ordeal. But when they were making it so ambiguous, and then they finally said, okay, it's Palpatine's daughter, like granddaughter, then it's like, what are you doing? Like you're destroying this character and what they stand for. Mm-hmm. Like now you're saying that they're designed to be evil, or they're designed to be like taken over by another character from the past that should have been dead a long time ago. And I get that we had the cloning technology in the past, and that we had the cloning experiments, especially with Jango Fett. And yeah, I can totally see Palpatine wanting to live forever, but like don't destroy a new character that's supposed to be ambiguous.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's so horrible.
Mystery works so much better, I find. Like, it's like if she was just a nobody that just came out of the woodwork, and it was just a mystery character, and even like they were trying to hint at the fact that anyone could be a Jedi because they had that little slave kid who like used the Force to pick up the broom and stuff. So it's like, why didn't they just roll with that? It's just dude, it's fucking hot trash. Hot trash.
You only killed my clones. I have multiple clones. It's like, oh my god, dude, this is the wrong answer. Like it should have just been that he was brought back as a Force ghost or something, and he's trying to still command the armies like that he had previously, or having the New Republic, cause some damage because of his influence, not because he just still exists.
Yeah, yeah, oh bro, like there's I can't even really talk about the sequels, man. It drives me fucking nuts. One thing I did find very funny though was they actually contacted Ian McDiarmid, who played Palpatine, and they were like, do you want to come back for episode 9? And he's like, am I not dead? Like, what? Is the character not dead? And like, that's the perfect answer, because yes, he is dead, but it's just like, oh yeah, bro, we threw
well,
a couple of
said no.
We threw a dart at an idea board, and that's what landed. Like,
Well, jeez. Now your hero JJ's in charge of the DCEU, so good luck with that one, buddy.
I've completely lost hope in that quite a while ago, to be honest. So, ugh.
But you know who we haven't lost faith in yet? Peacemaker.
Oh, I'm loving these I'm loving these transitions, guys. This is impressive.
We're flowing.
We are flowing. Yes, with the mention of DC. What did we think? Because actually, last week on the last week's episode of the podcast, we only spoke about episode 1, because half of us had only seen the first episode. So, what did we think of, like, again? I watched the two of them back to back, so I might be finding it a little difficult to distinguish what was episode 2 and what was episode 3. But just to kind of recap the show as an entirety, maybe it might be easier. But yeah, like, I'm loving it so far, and this week's episode, I noticed straight away, was the first one that wasn't directed by James Gunn. So I was proper watching this episode like, let's see if the quality dips, let's see what happens here, and it was still fire. It was great. Loved it.
Yeah, the director for this episode 4, was Jody Hill, who does a lot of stuff with like Danny McBride, like Eastbound and Down, Righteous Gemstones. Like he's a writer and a director for like a lot of Danny McBride stuff. And I think that's why it works, because it's like the same type of humor, kind of like edgy, edgelord type of stuff. But it's hard to find anything that wrong with Peacemaker. It is just, one, it's like really high quality. Everything looks fantastic that's on the screen. Everything's shot really well. It feels like a cinematic movie almost, right? It doesn't got a lot of like tracking shots or nothing, but it's all high quality. And, they get you to love all these characters. and they're doing something with Peacemaker that I don't think Marvel has been able to do with any of their TV shows, and that's show another angle to get a little bit deeper with the character, and not just superficially where we see a little bit of motive, but really see like how deep those motives go in them. And like, you know, Peacemaker, they touch on it in Suicide Squad on why he's the way he is.
Yeah.
They drop a line about it in the very beginning, right? And then this show is like digging deeper into that, and it just works so freaking well, man. Like, I love Peacemaker. I love Johnny Cena's like portrayal of this character. Like I adore the show. I adore Peacemaker. It's one of my favorite TV series I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely loving it as well. Like, and I love how it does feel like it's a direct like continuation of the Suicide Squad. Like, it's everything is there. It's a movie quality TV show. You're absolutely right. And I love how they're showing the Rick Flag death, and you know, like Peacemaker is traumatized by having to kill him and stuff. Like in, like even in the newest episode, we kind of saw that flashback to when he was a child, and his father, we find out was a supervillain basically, and getting him as like an 8-year-old boy to start shank someone who's like tied to a chair, like traumatic stuff. You know, and it's just how he plays. He's on the ground and he's crying. You feel for him. Like, you know, Cena is amazing. He can do everything. He can do the funny side. He can do the physical side. He can do the serious stuff. He does the cringy stuff so well. And I think it's just, it's down to him being a professional wrestler, I think. Like, you know, these guys embarrass themselves in person like 300 days of the year when they're like wrestling with the WWE and all, and like, you know, he's wearing an absolutely ridiculous costume, but he fucking owns it. He owns it. He owns it, and it's perfect. And when you see him coming out on Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel and he's wearing the costume, you're just like, Cena, what a legend. You know, like when you see him in street clothes, he looks weird, and like that just shows you how much he owns that character. Like, you know, he looks bizarre when he's not Peacekeeper. Like, or sorry, Peacemaker. I don't know why I keep saying Peacekeeper. But yeah,
you play too much Apex Legends.
But yeah, Jesus, great show. Like, really loving it, and I love Vigilante in this episode was so good. When he first came, like the comedy with him has been very good. I wasn't a major fan of him at the start. I kind of thought he was a little bit annoying, but when he started doing the thing when he started changing his face, and he's like, "Oh, the facial recognition won't pick me up." Me and my girlfriend were dying laughing watching that. Like, that was comedy genius. And then in this episode, you're saying that the director does a lot of comedy with like Danny McBride and stuff. Makes a lot of sense because the vigilante character was like something out of a comedy, but it sat perfectly where it needed to be. Like, you know, it worked. It's the medium where that sort of shit works. Star Wars, no. Like, don't do this shit in Star Wars. Keep this shit for shows like this, like, you know.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Definitely
show.
Definitely all the like all the side characters are fantastic, like all the tertiary characters, although you see them for a brief time, they do have some good moments. They have some funny moments. I thought it was insane, like with the with that one guy who got he got hit and he was bloodied, but like he was breathing for life. He managed to
when
stay
he gets
alive.
kicked, that was cool.
Yeah,
judo master or whatever. he's such a funny character. He just pops out of a closet eating a bag of chips. Like, it's just like, what are you doing?
Oh man,
so good.
The scene where Peacemaker runs out after him onto the street.
Oh my god!
First off,
where he drops out the window.
Coolest. Yeah, he like hits the superhero landing there, right? Like, look cool as hell.
I laugh.
And then you see the chip bag, like, just going across like old tumbleweed.
Dude, rewatch that scene when he jumps out the window, because it's kind of cut a bit strange. The shot is, and the way he kind of just abruptly lands, and me and my girlfriend broke out laughing. Like, it just couldn't believe how funny it was. I was like, was that intentional or not? I don't know, but if it was fucking genius, because it proper made me burst out laughing. Like, I just thought this show, it's hitting on so many levels. Like, it's fantastic. Like, and the prison scene with Vigilante was just brilliant, where he's kicking the shit out of all the racists and stuff. I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is crazy good. And then that twist at the end I didn't see coming as well. I won't, just in case anybody hasn't seen it yet, I won't mention it, but the very last shot of the episode, I was like, oh, didn't see that coming. So I was like, that's cool. So the story's intriguing.
That cliffhanger opens it up so much more from like kind of a black and white show into like something that's probably gonna have shades of gray. that like what's really going on, because so far it's been pretty, we're tracking down these butterflies, we're gonna kill them.
Yeah.
Now what are we gonna do? They just opened it wide open with that last little cliffhanger. And I also love Leota, the one of the characters, like one of these spy characters, the big black lady.
Yeah.
Her character is fucking Amanda Waller's daughter.
Yeah.
Like, is amazing the way she starts manipulating people. Like, I love that little touch from the writing that kind of shows her easily slip into that role that her mom would. And getting people to do stuff, like to get Vigilante to go in there and try and kill his dad, was just crazy. How good her character is, how well she's playing her. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the team to find out that she is Amanda Waller's daughter, just to see what they're all going to be like, because like they've just been sitting shit talking her mom the whole time.
Right.
It's so
yeah,
funny.
and she seems so timid during the entire time, and that you just like, for normal people watching it, that you don't suspect it.
Yeah.
You just get this whole situation of like, she's so timid. How is she Amanda Waller's like daughter at all?
Yeah.
And it's because she hasn't been in the line of fire yet, and also she feels sorry for Peacemaker. She thinks Peacemaker is actually a good person and is trying to do the right thing. And you could see a lot of that, especially when you see the scene, one of the scenes where he's got to like kill children, basically.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he starts freezing, and then eventually Vigilante pops and he's like, I got this.
Yeah, that was great, dude. He's
Hey,
like,
buddy.
step outside there, bro. It's like boom, 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 perfect shots. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool, bro. It's funny, it's intelligent, it's gripping, it's thrilling. Like it's ticking every single box, And I'm loving all the little nods to the Justice League, like, fuck Batman, he's a pussy and all this stuff. Like, it's like, why the fuck isn't he just like in Gotham killing all these criminals that need to be killed, they need to be taken off the board? And it's like, yeah, he's right. This is like the age-old debate. Like, if Bruce Wayne killed the Joker 20 years ago, thousands of people would still be alive, So it's like, yeah, it's great, dude. I really like it. And I actually really enjoy this story with the dad as well, because it's a proper kind of like, it's something we haven't really seen before, where like, a main character that we're following, their dad's like a super villain, but he's like really trying his hardest to be a good guy, but he isn't. Like, he's like proper considers himself a superhero. And like, I love the scenes with the old man where he's like, Batman's a superhero, Batman has villains and stuff, like you don't have any, like, I think that's it. They're funny scenes, but it's really the struggle that he has internally, like, seen as character, and I think it's just very intelligently kind of brought to the surface, rather than him just kind of suffering in silence. You get that kind of back and forth and a bit of comedy there, like, that's probably James Gunn at his best,
Yeah. Finto, I wanted to ask you, Finto, like, how did you feel about all the references to other characters, like especially Batmite? When I heard about Batmite, like, when they're like, yeah, Batmite, and they're like, who the fuck is Batmite? It's like, well, it's a guy in a little Batman costume who basically makes Batman do whatever, like, tries to control Batman, and because he's a huge fan. And I thought that was really great, because it also shows, like, in addition to all the supernatural things that are going on in the show right now, it kind of makes it like, okay, so that makes sense why we have Batmite in the show, or like not in the show, but as a reference, because shit like this is going on.
Yeah, that's it's interesting, like, and it's again, I think it's the DC, like, this version of like the DC universe that we're living in now is kind of like, it's Batman coming back after retirement. Like, the people like Batman have been around for 20-30 years. He's had his like array of villains and stuff, like, whereas it's not like a lot of the stories that we always get are the heroes while they're pretty new. Like, this is like a veteran, basically. So it seems like the DC universe has been around for a long time, so there's a lot of history in it, and I think they do a great job of actually pulling all of that into the current time. Like, you can tell that it's rich in history, like, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely, like, the world seems lived in. It feels lived.
Yeah.
And it feels so unique compared to Marvel, where, Marvel characters, even their heroes, always seem like they fit into the world that they're existing in. Where I think the funniest part about Peacemaker is that they still have these like very saturated colors of the Peacemaker outfit, the Judo Master outfit, and Vigilante. There's these like saturated looks, next to these like really gray toned out, like desaturated, like just normal people.
Yeah.
And they just look so weird next to them. But it's that surrealness that I think really makes the DC universe kind of work. That sets it apart sometimes. And it's just this vibe that James Gunn nailed in Suicide Squad and works in this one, where every main character in Suicide Squad looked ridiculous, and then they would put them next to normal people. And they would not try to make the normal people look cool or like real fancy, they'd just be normal.
Yeah.
It's just it totally works for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I love like even like, you know, he's walking through the hospital in the first episode wearing his costume, and people are just like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, you know, it's just so crazy. Like, and that's the way the world would react. Like, I think it's very like, you know, it's clever. It's very kind of real. You know, if you saw a dude walking by wearing that, you'd be like, "What the fuck was what the hell was that?" Like, you know, it's so funny, dude.
It really just makes me want James Gunn to get his own TV show for Disney Plus, honestly. Because he just makes the way he makes you care about characters almost from the jump. He writes such sympathetic characters for people to fall in love with.
Yeah,
that I like. How do I like everyone in this cast? Literally, there's not one person on this cast I don't like as a character outside probably like the dad, right? But like you're meant to really hate the dad.
Yeah, so he's doing his job.
Yeah. Like James Gunn is just a master craft at writing characters and creating these little characters. You know, even with stuff like Diebeard, you know. Like the that writing is hilarious, and then you know his beard is starting to like come in gray throughout the series. It's just hysterical, bro. Like I just James Gunn is genius.
Yeah, no, he really is, and I think what was I gonna say? I think James Gunn himself has said that what he will be doing next. So obviously he's got 2 projects with Marvel left. Guardians 3 and then the Christmas special or whatever, and then I think he says he's going back to DC for a while, he said, I think, and he's going to be working on villain characters only, so he's going to be doing villain projects, which I'm all for, bro. I think like I'd love to see, like what he's done so far has been brilliant, like, you know, so like give him a Deathstroke movie or something like that, or you know, give him a character like that. I think he would absolutely thrive at it. I think it would be really good. It'd be really fresh content, because like, you know, as well known as like the Suicide Squad are and stuff, like, you know, you don't really get too many movies that are like franchises built on villains only, like, you know, or like I know we have Venom and stuff, but you know, I mean like proper villains, like, so, you know, if he came in and did a movie about like Deathstroke or something like that, I think, or Deadshot, like that would be really fucking cool. I'd love to see his take on that. I think that'd be very interesting.
I wish they would give him a Batman movie where he does the Bat Family. I think James Gunn would like kill it, bro.
Yeah.
You got to get someone like you got to care about Robin. You got to care about Nightwing, Red Hood. You got to care about all these characters. You got to care about these people.
Yeah.
And I think James Gunn is like the perfect director to do an actual Batman. Make it in like a proper Gotham that's comic book accurate, right? Like more like the Michael Keaton Batman universe.
Yeah.
But a little bit, you know, more modernized. I'm in. I'd be in for that.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah, that would like, I've always, you know, Batman is probably my favorite comic book to read. I collect Batman like crazy, and I love sitting down and reading a Batman comic all the time. I love the extended Bat family. Jason Todd's one of my favorite characters as well. Like, so, like, you know, getting them in live action would just be fantastic, and get a story done right. Now, where they do that, you know, do we get another fucking Batman, or, you know, do they do that down the line and like maybe Robert Pattinson's third movie, you start bringing in Robins and stuff like that? But then at the same time, you've got Batgirl. There's a Batgirl project being made right now. I don't know if it's TV or if it's a movie. I'm kind of confused on that, but
it's Michael Keaton's. It's in Flashpoint, right?
No, well, Batgirl has her own project.
Michael Keaton's going to be in that. He's going to be teaching her.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But okay. I don't think Keaton. I don't know if Keaton can like take on the mantle of Batman permanently, like, you know, and do like a Bat family thing. I think he works as Old Man Bruce, like, and that's it, like, you know. Whereas I want to see, you know, Batman where he's like kind of 10 years in, and you know, like Dick Grayson's become Nightwing, Jason's dead, and you know Tim's coming in. Like that would be like a perfect time frame. Like if you fucked around with it within those like kind of 5 years or whatever. I think that would just be magic for me. Like that's the prime kind of storytelling, where you've got Court of Owls and all that sort of stuff. Like Jesus Christ, bro, be crazy, be so good.
Yeah.
So good. But it's like, I don't know, does like Pattinson's character fit that? Probably not. How do they already have a Batgirl, so it's like, are they going to incorporate that somehow? It's just, I feel like it's like 3 universes trying to merge into one at the moment. Like, it's just all over the place. I just don't know where the future lies in it, like, because they say Snyderverse is dead, but it's like, you're banking Ezra Miller that, he's going to be going on for movies. Jason Momoa's around for movies. Gal's around for movies as Wonder Woman. Like, they're all Snyder characters. Like, so it's like, is it dead? No, like, it's not really dead, but it's like, where does that now end, and where does the new universe begin? Like, it's just all over the place. It fucking it stresses me out.
Because Batgirl, like, J.K. Simmons is coming back to play Commissioner Gordon and be Batgirl's dad. So it's like, what is happening here? Like, was you killing the Snyderverse just you trying to get rid of Batman and Superman? Like, you wanted to get rid of Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill? Like, that was your plan? That was like two of the best characters in the whole thing.
Yeah, they are the best characters in the whole thing, and like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, Affleck was fantastic as Batman. Like, and if you just gave him his own movie, I think he would have absolutely fucking destroyed it. And like, Man of Steel 2 would be great. I'd love to see it, and Justice League 2 and whatever. But yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I thought the Batgirl was going to be connected to the Robert Pattinson world, because Commissioner Gordon's black in that, and Batgirl's black in this. Like, so I'm like, maybe, I don't know. Again, it's so confusing, dude. I don't know what connects to what. Like, what's separate, what's not. Like, if you're saying J.K. Simmons is coming back as Gordon, I like him as Gordon. I think he's great. I don't know. Like, he has a black daughter. I don't know.
I mean, his wife would have to be.
If it's a biological daughter, it could be adoptive or something. Yeah. Who knows? Like, but again, it's confusing for people, because it's like, okay, in another Batman movie now they have a black commissioner, so that would make sense that that's where that Batgirl would sit. But maybe I'm completely wrong as well. Who the fuck knows? It's just, and that's a prime example of how DC is all over the place. Like, it's multiple universes that seem to be trying to mash into one now or something, or I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. They're trying to rewrite stuff. I think they say that Flashpoint is gonna literally put the Snyderverse into like a pocket like universe, like multiverse, and it's gonna be its own thing but not exist. And I think there's gonna be like different versions of some characters, and they're gonna create a new timeline. And I think that's kind of officially how it's gonna go. So at the moment, I think it's all up in the air until we see the Flash movie. I think that's gonna just change and retcon stuff and the whole shebang. Like, and we know that Ben Affleck is going to die in the movie. Like, he's said it in interviews. Like, my last scene as Batman is in this film, and he said it was his bet. Like, he said some of the scenes that he shot for this movie, he said were some of his favorite scenes that he's ever shot as Batman.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's a media play or whatever, but I'm intrigued. I want to see that if that's what he's saying. Yeah.
Oh, this reconstruction process is so weird.
It's fucking like it's heartbreaking for me, dude. Like, it's just it's heartbreaking. Like, imagine them dropping the ball so much in the MCU and then trying to like just get Doctor Strange to come in and fix everything, but it's all over the place and you don't know who belongs where and all. Like, if this was happening in the MCU, like, people would be fucking rioting. Like, they'd be going crazy. DC are just such a wild fucking. It's such a wild house. Like, you just don't know what's going on anywhere.
I mean, between DC and the Matrix, like, Warner Brothers just seems like the dumbest company in the world right now. Like, they have just bungled so much of their like entertainment properties that you're like, what? Like, how is this hard to nail? How is this hard to nail for you?
I genuinely, like, it baffles me how that studio are handing out money to make these projects, and they are some of the most dogshit projects out there. Yeah. It makes zero sense. And then, like, Warner Brothers get a little 30 million bailout from Zack to try and fix the problem that they did with that Justice League movie, and they get it. It's a success. Whatever you say, it was a success. And Warner Brothers basically just tell him to fuck off. It's like, he just saved the universe for you, and you basically said, see you later, bud. It makes no sense. Like, Warner Brothers, I genuinely think, are just out to destroy DC Comics. They're out to destroy the Matrix. Like it's nuts. I don't know how they're. I don't know whoever's writing those checks. I don't know who's signing off on those checks, reading scripts and going, "That sounds great. Yeah, let's do that." Like it's just it seems seems malicious. Like
Yeah. Are there any top performing WB shows or movies that, like, you know, they don't have to be comic based, but are there any?
Oh, top performing? I mean, I don't think so, right? Like,
Well,
they may have made money, but
didn't Warner Brothers? Am I thinking of this wrong? Did Warner Brothers do Harry Potter? Didn't they?
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
like Harry Potter is very successful, and like you know, the Beast movies. I only actually watched the two of them back to front the other day for the very first time. I'd never seen them for some reason, and they weren't as good as Harry Potter, but they were pretty good. I'm just gonna have a quick look.
Because it makes me wonder, you know, how much control does Warner Brothers have at this point compared to when from their past work?
Yeah.
You know, what if they didn't have as much to say back then, and they just let, you know, the whoever was directing it or writing it to go with it, and then all of a sudden they realize, well, like we want to have more control over like the situation because we don't agree with certain things, and then they just start pushing themselves further in, and then you see, you know, Justice League and, you know, all these different problems that they have, and everything that they could be, you know, sinking in, and it's just not working.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. I think that Warner Brothers of old, I think it was a bunch of old dudes at the top who just liked that people were making money for them. And they would like kind of have a little bit of control. They would like, hey, let's keep this here, let's keep that there. And they would play the internal politics of it. But I think they were a little bit hands off with the creatives throughout the 80s and the 90s and stuff and the early 2000s. And now I think studios are, you know, pretty much filled up with people who came up under loving movies and want to be part of the movie business. And so they're a bunch of people who aren't creatives, but they have creative ideas, but they're business guys. And so they try to put their hands over everything because they're like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We should do this, we should do that. And they just try to take too much control, and directors don't have enough power anymore. This is why movies from Christopher Nolan are so great. It's because he has enough power in the movie industry to be like, hands off. And he works for Warner Brothers. Yeah. All his stuff is Warner Brothers, and he's like, hands off.
Yeah.
And he has enough of a swing to do that. So I think it's all from the top.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
And to answer your question there, Alex, the top 20 for Warner Brothers compiles of all 8 Harry Potter movies, the 2 spin-off Harry Potter movies, The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and like Dark Knight, Batman vs Superman, Inception. Like that's pretty much it. Suicide Squad sits at number 20, like the original Suicide Squad as well, not the remake.
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
The remake did way less money.
It's it's ridiculous. It's a way better movie though, but yeah, I know what you mean. Like talking money wise, but it's all Harry Potter. It's all Lord of the Rings. It's just those big franchises that company seem to just be grasping onto. Like, and it's, you know, you're talking about like the movie industry's changed. I think Hoffman, you're dead right in what you're saying. Like these guys are the guys who were probably in charge when Lord of the Rings was making billions of dollars, and it's just like, give us the summer blockbuster. Like it's not all about the summer blockbuster anymore. You know, that used to be what the movie industry was about. Who can get the big July fucking premiere, you know, whether it's Jurassic Park or whatever, you know, who can get the big summer blockbuster? What's the big popcorn movie going to be that year? And just that's not the world we live in anymore. Like content is all year round. Content is now on TV. It's streaming services. It's everything. Like they need to adapt. They're not adapting. The TV that they're putting out now, Peacemaker is great, and I think we can thank James Gunn for the writing of it. But you know, the Warner Brothers TV stuff, like, to be fair, the new Superman show is actually quite good. Superman and Lois, it's called, on the CW, which is Warner Brothers TV. It's a good show, but like, you know, the CW haven't had good superhero TV in almost 10 years now. You know what I mean? Like the first couple of seasons of Flash and Arrow were fantastic. First 3 seasons, like that, those shows aired in 2012 and 2013. Like, so those days are over. Like, you know, it's like that TV.
I think they're trying to sell off CW, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Last I heard, they're trying to dump it because like it's not profitable. Like they're not making money off of it. None of their shows do that well, and their shows stink. Like I can't stick around for CW shows. It's too hard to watch for me. It's too like one. I'm not the demographic. I'm a 30-year-old beefy boy. Like I'm not gonna be showing up for that demographic.
Yeah. Like it's like the CW have a very obvious model of how they run TV, where they bring in the big guns for the first like 2 seasons and get the show off the ground, and then when it hits that kind of autopilot moment, they move those resources to the next big thing, and then they want to have another big 2 years with something else, and that's just what they keep doing over and over again. Like the first 2-3 seasons of Arrow, some of my favorite TV, like fell in love with the characters, loved the show, loved the actors, everything. Like bred that show, like ate and bred it, like literally just couldn't stop watching. Like I just loved it. Like, and then they cross the Flash into it. Like Barry Allen shows up and you're like, oh my god, the Flash is here. And then they do a Flash show, and the first 2 seasons of that were fucking fire as well. And you're just like, this is incredible. They started doing crossovers between the two, and I was in my element. Like I was like, this is TV. And then you just see all the writers dropping off, like the creators all going, like Jeff Johns and DC was involved, and then you just see him stepping back, and Greg Berlanti and stuff, like he starts going on to Netflix and stuff like that, and you're just like, it just starts getting worse and worse, and the seasons just drop off. But yeah, it's not like Warner Brothers can't do it, like they can't run TV. And even like HBO Max, like HBO Max comes around, and it's not really HBO Max. Like, it's not HBO, It has the HBO name. It's not HBO, dude. Like, these shows are not HBO. Like, Doom Patrol's fun. It's a good show. It's not a HBO show, And, like, I've even noticed they call them Max Originals. They don't have, like, they try not to put the HBO name on it as much as possible, And, like, Titans was a perfect example. We reviewed it on our on our YouTube. They had the fucking Bible was handed to them with one of the best comic book stories ever told, and they fucked it up. Like, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, guys, I could have wrote a better show myself. Take the fucking animated movie and just turn it into a TV series with live action people. That's all you gotta do. Like, so Warner Brothers have just lost it.
They could do if they gave like a Batman series a Game of Thrones budget on HBO.
Yeah, that's
where you're gonna come in and do like 10 episodes a season, huge budget, and like it's gonna be, we do the whole Bat family, we do a huge overarching story throughout 4 seasons.
Yeah,
like, come on,
easiest money ever.
Easy money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Easy money, and like even like the first I hate to harp on about like Arrow or whatever, but like the first 3 seasons of that show, you saw Deathstroke coming in, Ra's al Ghul was in it, and like loads of great characters. And it was good. It was a good story, and it, you wanted to watch it every week. And the budget was good. The special effects were grand, and like the hand-to-hand combat was brilliant in it. It was good watching. Like it was kind of modeled off like Christopher Nolan's kind of Batman universe, but on TV, and it worked. But yeah, like you're dead right. Like if they and that's what they should have done. They should have got Affleck in for a 6-part series on HBO Max and had him go up against Deathstroke, and it would have been a fucking 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
easy 10
sure.
out of 10. But hey, they don't like making money. They don't like making good content. They have they have an aversion to making good content that people like want to see, and they're just sour because Zack Snyder was able to do it without them. They're sour over it. That's exactly what it is.
Way.
Yeah, it is. They're sour. They're sour over it. They really are. Like they when the movie first came out, the Snyder Cut, they wouldn't acknowledge it was a success and it wasn't until months later one of the executives in Warner Brothers had said that yes, it's a giant success on the platform, on the streaming platform, and it's like, wow, you finally say it, like, shocking.
Like, there's got to be some weird internal politics going on over there at Warner Brothers, and I think AT&T is like part of their ownership now too. It feels so weird, bro.
Yeah,
like. Because you're totally right. Like, it feels like they wanted to get rid of the entire Snyder universe, and then some of the execs were like, "Hey, you guys want to get rid of Aquaman? Like, that made $1 billion easy. You want to get rid of like Wonder Woman? That made $1 billion for us. Like, we're not getting rid of these characters."
Yeah, let's put out a second movie that's absolute shit,
Yeah.
And like, how good what was the box office on the second movie? Actually, sorry, it was
right now.
I don't even think it was
Or-
it wasn't released cinematically, wasn't it? No.
No.
Which movie?
The Wonder Woman 84.
So it did $166 million at the box office.
Oh, Jesus.
To be fair,
Yeah.
that was during like the height of COVID, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
It didn't even get a theatrical release in Europe or anything. Like I had to watch it on HBO. Like so
Yeah, and-
that wasn't even an option for me to go see in the cinema. So
I don't think any movies were open then, right? I don't think anywhere was open.
yeah. And to be fair, if that movie was so bad that if that was released tomorrow, I think it does 300 million. That's it.
Yeah, probably.
Like
Yeah, at the
you know,
very least.
shocking film. Jesus, like Pedro Pascal was awful in it. Like, oh my god, so bad,
Thank you.
so bad.
Everyone thought he was so good. I'm like, what movie are you guys watching?
Yeah,
He's terrible in this. It's so overacted.
yeah, it was horrendous performance. Now
Who directed it?
yeah, it could be
Patty
down.
Jenkins.
It could, yeah, she's terrible. It could be down to like terrible direction, but we've all seen Pedro Pascal act. We know he can act, but his performance in that movie was shocking.
It feels like he almost plays the same character. Like once he has to go a little bit bigger than that type of role. It's a little bit off for him.
Yeah, that's so yeah.
But like Patty Jenkins, she did the first Wonder Woman, which was good. She did Thor, the first one, I believe.
Well,
Like she does all right movies, and then this one was like, ugh.
didn't Snyder write the first script, and he was a producer on the movie, the first Wonder Woman? As far as I know, Snyder wrote the script, and he was a producer on the film as well. So I think he pulled a lot of those strings in that first movie.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
and he had absolutely zero to do with that second movie, and look at that fucking shitstorm. Says a lot. Says a lot.
I'm actually very excited for Zack Snyder's Netflix Star Wars knockoff. I'm
Yeah.
very excited for it.
Because he pitched it to Lucas, and they kind of said no or whatever. But yeah, it's basically it's meant to be a Star Wars movie.
I think they made the right call there. I don't think Zack Snyder can make a Star Wars movie. To be honest with you.
Do you know what I would have really loved to see? Apparently they were going to be giving Tarantino a Star Trek movie. How fucking nuts would that have been?
I'd watch that.
I'd watch it too, of course.
That would have been great.
Yeah, would have been crazy.
Tarantino wants to do a Bond film too. Like I'd watch that also.
True. Just Kill Bill, but with Bond instead. Yeah, that's crazy. Do you guys have any other kind of news or scoops or anything from the week? I'm trying to think.
So
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Well,
I don't know if you guys follow Vincent D'Onofrio on Twitter, but he's been pretty active this week. He went through, like, I gotta respect this man. He does not give a shit. He'll retweet whatever the fuck he wants. Like, he was retweeting. People were putting up leaks of deleted scenes from Hawkeye, and he was just retweeting them and everything. Like, he was like, he replied to one, and they were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they cut this amazing scene from the film." And he retweets it, just goes, "Yup." What a legend, dude.
I didn't get to see it before they took it down, but it was a scene between Kingpin and Kate Bishop's mom.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be earlier in the season, right?
Yeah, and there was apparently a scene that they shot as well, which was Hawkeye, Clint sending the Ronin sword to Kingpin with a message attached going, "Stay the fuck away from my family. The Ronin is still out there if he needs to be," sort of thing. So yeah, like I don't know what the hell's going on, but it sounds like they, and I did hear this when it was airing. It sounds like they had a lot more Kingpin, but cut it back for some reason.
It's just so strange.
They probably did it for the overall cut of the film or the show, right? Because I think the scene was supposed to take place shortly after the battle for New York between the two characters, and they were discussing probably like the death of the dad, and they probably just didn't need that scene to work, right? Like it probably just was redundant, and they like took it out because of that, because that shit happens a lot, right?
True.
But more Kingpin on screen is always better, especially if we we never got to see him to be that subtle, right? Like, I think the best part about Kingpin and Daredevil was how subtle he was in a lot of the scenes. And I don't think we really got that in Hawkeye, which was kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
I think I saw a statistic there that that Daredevil reached, for like a global kind of statistic of streaming, hit the top 10 this week. Like, what was it?
Yeah.
Like, what, 8 years after it was made or originally released or whatever? Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, that's how much people want to see more of that character. They're going back and watching season 1 of Daredevil, a show that was made 8 years ago, and it's top 10 globally. Like, how fucking wild is that?
Yeah, because I mean, Hawkeye wasn't terrible. It just started fizzling out near the end, which, to us wasn't that great of an idea for them to wait so long to bring out such a strong villain. It would have been much better to have like Hoffman said, have a more subtle approach, and have him show up here and there, just kind of like brooding, even just having these moments, and then finally bringing him up. Because having him at the very end seemed, after a while I thought about it, and it seemed like a cop out.
It's a waste, bro. It's a waste of a great character, because you only get to introduce that character once to the MCU, right? And so now his introduction just is weak. It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like, the fact that they had a flashback of him and confirmed, obviously, that he's been around since like 2007 at least. I think, you could potentially go back in flashbacks or whatever way you want to do it, but I think you can kind of maybe like rectify that and give him a kind of cooler intro in a movie maybe, or in another series down the line. Like, I think like the Echo show, you'll see a lot more of him in that. And, moving on from that, obviously a Daredevil show whenever we get that. Like, I hope that's not too far away, because, Charlie Cox isn't a young man anymore. I would hate to see the years escape to where, he's in his prime and we get the best content. I hope they don't put it on the fucking back burner. And, I think he's 39 now, or he just turned 40, I think. So, like, if they don't make this show for like 4 or 5 years, like he's 45 putting the suit on, like, it's kind of, but they use doubles and all that sort of shit. Like, I suppose they could make it work, but I kind of want to see him when he's as close as he can be to the character on Daredevil. Like, I want to see that continuation kind of happen without him aging too much.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, there's a lot going on, Marvel wise, a lot. Like, the amount of projects. I've heard like 33 projects that they're currently working on. Like, that's a wild number when you think about it. Wild number.
And
Just want to know what they are.
yeah, hopefully during the drought, we'll get a little bit of sprinkles here and there. Give us something to think about, something to talk about, because we don't have any content. After Boba Fett and Peacemaker, we don't have anything until March 30th for Marvel.
I really thought that they were gonna do Moon Knight in February. Like, I thought that was what they were kind of lining up to do, because I know when they bring out Moon Knight, they're gonna do like 2 episodes at the beginning, like what they did with Hawkeye. So we'll get a double bill for the release, and then it's 4 weeks after that is May 4th. So that Wednesday, they say they're gonna be releasing Obi-Wan. That's the rumor, that Obi-Wan will be out on May 4th, and it just makes so much sense. May 4th to Wednesday. Wednesday's the premiere day for new shows. Moon Knight will be finished the week before. It's perfect. Like, it's perfect. So yeah, you release Obi-Wan on May 4th. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Like, do we have nothing? I think Peacemaker is probably like 10 episodes, maybe 13. Like, the HBO Max shows go a bit longer usually. I don't know what the official number is, but I know like the likes of Doom Patrol and like Titans and stuff like that, like they ran for quite a bit. I'll see if I can find out exactly how many episodes there are, but I hope they bridge the gap a little more, because I definitely don't want to be like 6 weeks without any content. Like, it'll feel so weird for us, because usually we have something to talk about every week, and then I think the rest of the year, to be fair, is gonna be very like evenly paced out. So I don't know. It seems a bit weird that there's nothing on in February if that's the case.
Yeah. From what I'm looking at, it's going to be an 8-episode season for Peacemaker. So we have, yeah.
We've only got 4 episodes left, so we have a month left of it. So that'll get us to the end of February. So then we have the month of March, pretty much. And then at the end of March, on I think the same week, we're gonna have the Batman and Moonknight, which is quite funny when you think about it.
That's a packed episode.
Yeah, so that'll be a big podcast because that movie's 3 hours long.
Oh my god, I'm not staying awake.
They released the runtime. It was like 2 hours 55 without credits.
Jeez.
God.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big movie.
Hopefully it doesn't get boring.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
A lot of movie to fill.
I got high hopes for this one. I really do. Like I think.
Yeah, I do too.
I think is it Matt Reeves? Is that his name? Matt Reeves. I think he's got the vision. You know, like what he's put out, like what we've seen so far, is really it's Gotham, it's Batman, it's dark villains, it's it's dark as fuck, and I think. Like I don't know. It just seems to be it's hitting it from all angles for me now. So yeah.
Make sure to be in your recliner seat.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm gonna try and like maybe bring in like the smallest drink ever, just to kind of keep myself hydrated a bit. But I don't want to be like bringing in a big fucking giant like bucket of cola or whatever, like, because I'll have to be running out for a piss every hour, like, so fuck that. Yeah. Fuck that. Guys, if there's nothing else, we're about to hit like 2:45, so we've actually that was a good one. We got 2 hour just over the 2 hour 40 mark. Yeah. Boba episode 5 next week. Peacemaker episode 5, or is it episode 5? Yeah, it is episode 5. They're both on the same. Yep. So yeah, it's gonna be, I think it'll be a good one next week as well. So guys, thank you for being here. If you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, if you like the content, hit the like button, follow us, give us a follow. All right, guys. See you next week.
Later,
Thank you
everyone.
so much.
Bye-bye.
Later.